What's up, Warcraft Reloaded listeners and watchers? Just here at the top of the show, wanted to say we have a brand new Discord, warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. If you have any questions you might want to ask a dev about Season of Discovery, I need you to join the Discord and leave that question in the podcast questions area and mark it as a question for the devs. That's warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. And thank you. Welcome to Warcraft Reloaded, a podcast brought to you by Mash Those Buttons, covering World of Warcraft Classic and its community. I am Bobby, also known as Blazin' Bob, and today I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mel, aka Melarina. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay, good. And we are also joined by the rascal, the scoundrel, ScotteJaye. How you doing?
I was kind of hoping that you was going to refer to Joardee in that way, so I'm a little bit offended. That was my introduction. That's why I went quiet for a minute, because I was like, oh, he's doing Joardee first. That's fine. I'll sit here and chill. But yes, thank you for having me back. I'm not sure why you continue to do it, but I appreciate you anyway.
Because we love it. We love it. And also joining the show once again, we have Joardee, the master of guides and priest extraordinaire. How you doing?
I actually have a nearly full base warrior now too, so I'd like to be
Zug,
referred
zug.
to in that light as well. I got my Shadowmoor last night. I was excited. Thank you guys for having me. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'd like to start out the show by thanking our tank patrons in Thick Lizzie, Croxford, Braxton, and Turtle Whale. I'd like to mention that we stream this show live on twitch.tv/BlazinBob, BLAZZINBOB. I want to let you guys know we have a brand new Discord server. I'm never getting the old account back. It's hacked. They kicked everybody from the Discord. It's a whole mess. So I have a new Discord and a new Discord server. You can join that by going to warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. So join us. It's small now, but the other one had grown to about 700 people. So let's get this one growing too, guys. All right. And then what else? Okay. Yeah. We're going to start out with one voicemail. The number for that, if you guys want to call in for the coming weeks, is 816-866-1066 or speakpipe.com/Warcraft Reloaded. And we also have a couple other voicemails, but we're going to play those in the discussion section because they're all about Season of Discovery. But then we're gonna do what we've been doing, a little short thing on that, and then do some news. There isn't a ton of news, but we're gonna jump into the discussion, and we'll start with those voicemails when we do it. So with that being said, you guys want to start on that first voicemail?
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Bob, Mel, Scotty, because I know he's there, and the other guy, I don't know pronounce his name. My apologies.
Oh, here, hold on. This was not you, Joardee. He left this last week when he thought Scotty was going to be on, and Scotty had to cancel.
It's just funny. The other guy, fuck that guy. I don't know who he is.
Rockman, yeah, he was talking about Rockman, which I thought was hilarious. I was like,
fuck Rockman for sure. I agree. Yeah,
it's like, I mean, it's either Rockman or Rockman, but okay. All right, Bob, I'm gonna go ahead and play.
Holy cow! I'm happy to have a good time. I probably watched those announcements probably 10 plus times, but right to the point. I got two questions. One's regarding Kata, because I know Scotty's there, and two's regarding SoD, because why wouldn't I be asking about that? Anyway, that's the point. So about Kata, do you think they kind of screwed them a little bit on that? Because when they talked about Kata, the announcement, there was some roars, but I gotta be honest, after SoD was announced, it's like, who cares about Kata? it just kind of felt like it killed all the hype. Secondly, it was like hashtag more changes to Kata. Like, okay, heroic plus. Okay, faster guild leveling. Okay, nothing else. And they kind of wonder why there was crickets during the Kata announcement. Huh. So I guess that's my first question. Do you think they kind of screwed the pooch on Kata a little bit? Second, on
so we answered the second question last week, but that was his question about Kata. And I'll say one thing right off the bat. Me and Joardee and Mel were right there, and there was not roars. There was one roar, and it was Crix.
I still have nightmares.
But he's just like, they said Kata, and he jumps and he goes, "Let's go, dude!" He was so excited.
Is this us? Is this us? Is this us?
Oh,
Is this
yeah.
us?
Showback. Oh my gosh.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Joardee was so uncomfortable. But yeah, I guess he's just asking, did they kind of kill the hype on Kata? And I just think they didn't have a lot to tell us yet on Kata. That's what I think. But,
Everybody
I-
knew Kata was coming. Like, why did they like?
It's not a
Nobody's gonna be like,
surprise.
"Oh my gosh, Kata!" Like, I mean, it was. We all knew it was
So,
coming.
like I've said all along, and I say a lot of shit that people don't like, and I don't care. I say what I think. If people don't like it, fuck them. But it was obvious Kata was coming, and we all know why Kata was coming, because of the blazing digital edition that we've already seen, which has probably already made them so much money they now don't even care about Kata launching, because I'm seeing them mounts everywhere, and I'm seeing fresh level 80s that have 100% bought that 80 boost, and
those mounts are so
it's a cash grab.
disgusting looking.
Oh,
I'm
please.
just like, get that out of the game. Like,
If I could delete it, I would.
Dude, they snuck that
literally, if I
in.
could delete it, I would.
They snuck that in while we were all at BlizzCon, and I get back and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Oh, I was so annoyed. Like, whoever thought it was a good idea to be riding miniature bosses?
But the thing is, the way I'm looking at it, yes, absolutely. If I was to be completely honest, after BlizzCon, my plans changed massively in terms of what videos I was going to put out. Season of Discovery is a slow burner. It's not going to be something that we're rushing through. So it's going to be like, by the time we get to 25, then we start getting geared and we start getting a bit bored of that first phase. It's not going to take fucking long. Let's be honest. It's not going to take that long before we're like, I've leveled 4 characters. I've done BFD 200 times. I'm ready for something else.
Next.
Then the Kata beta is going to start. And then we'll be, there'll be loads of hype around Kata because the beta's out, and then that will die down. And then phase 2 of Season of Discovery will launch. They're not stupid. They know what they're doing. They've got a plan. They know that the big seller of BlizzCon wasn't Kata. Kata was just like, they needed to announce it because they've got to carry on now. They've made their bed. They've got to lie in it. We got TBC. We got Wrath. What are you going to do? What are you going to do with our characters? I don't want to lose my Paladin. That I've been playing for the last however many years. I want to carry on, and I am excited for Kata, as you all know, and I think it's going to be amazing. But I'm not sure where you stand on this, Joardee. So I'd be interested in your opinion on Kata. But I want new raids. I get excited for new raid bosses.
That's all I'm excited about for Kata is just the raids. But I mean, that's all I do now anyway in Wrath. So.
Scotty, are you going to re-level from 1 to see the new quests and stuff on Kata?
I do want to do that, actually.
In the beta, I will. But when you say see them, obviously, I've, in the last 12 months,
sure.
Again, not what we was talking about before, in terms of content. In the last 12 months, I've leveled every single class to 85 and raided on every single class and cleared all content excluding Dragon Soul.
All right. Well, I feel like for me, the Kata is going to be very exciting, as you guys said, for the raids. That's probably where I'm going to be most enthused to sink my teeth into. We've been talking a lot about it. Like ICC starting to get a little stale with the buff coming. Everyone's really sad. By the way, I have a lot of things to say about the buff, but whatever. And I think that Firelands and Blackwing Descent all sound amazing. Alakir sounds amazing. Like, I love Heroic Lich King to death. A lot of people don't like that fight. I think especially as a disc priest, it's so much fun. And I can't wait to see these more complicated fights in Kata. Like, I'm really, really, really excited about it. What I'm not excited about is the community's negativity around it. I think has me bummed about it already. You know what I mean? Like,
the
especially as
WoW
a con-
Classic
especially as a-
community's
well, yeah.
negativity.
but especially as a content creator, you're like, you know, you want people to be excited about something because that draws eyes, it draws people logging in, you know, everybody's engaged with your stuff, and no one seems to be too excited about it. And it bums me out, you know what I mean? So part of me is like, maybe I just spend more time on Season of Discovery. But as Scotty was saying, we're gonna be done with Season Discovery in 2 weeks, and then we're gonna be sitting around waiting for the next content drop. And so we're in this weird place. And you know, Scotty and I were talking about right before we started, but like, it's weird not knowing what's coming. You know what I mean? Like, Season Discovery, there's like a ton of stuff coming that we don't know what it is. And like, I had lunch with Sarth yesterday, and we were talking about it, and it was like, it's really fun not knowing what's coming, but it's also really difficult as a content creator because you can't make shit ahead of time and have it and sit on it, right? Like, so with no PTR. So it's like, it's just, we're in this weird, like, interstitial, what is happening now place. And I think that we'll see how it pans out. But I'm gonna play both. I'm gonna play both like crazy, and I think I'm just gonna take it all as it comes. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed feelings about everything.
See, Scotty, Jordy's like me though in one thing, where we're a rare breed I've found, but we don't like transmog.
I hate transmog. I hate it.
I want a client side toggle.
Why are you saying that to me? I don't like transmog.
Oh, I thought you did.
Scotty, I
don't give a shit about transmog.
Oh, you just don't care. You just don't care if it's there or not.
Yeah, I don't care whether it's there or not. I'm not going to use it. I will use transmog in Mr. Pandaria when I can transmog my monk into gold challenge mode gear. Until then, I don't even care. Yeah, it can be in, it can be out. I don't care. It takes away from, like, if I saw Joardee in Stormwind or in Ogrimmar, and I'd be like, fucking hell, that guy's stacked. I know straight away from looking at his character. When everyone's running around in transmog, it removes all of that.
Exactly.
I just feel it's an easy fix for Blizzard. I've been saying it for years now. Just give us a client-side toggle. You'll make everybody happy. And I'd even use it sometimes for different things. Transmog competitions, like, that sounds kind of neat. Like, but I don't want it all day, every day.
I feel like Blizzard sitting over there like, sure, yeah, we'll just add in the button, Bob. No big deal.
Everything's kept client-side. It would just be a simple if statement, you know, like.
Yeah, you can look like what you want. Yeah, but with what you were saying, Joardee, so this might, when I say it might shock you, but, you know, when you were saying there's no hype around Kata, or, you know, there's a lot of negativity around it. I agree 100%. Like, first off, there are a lot of people that are like, oh, Kata's when WoW died and went downhill. I mean, that's not actually technically true. The first phase of Kata, or the first, you know, patch of Kata, even originally, was actually when there was the highest amount of subscribers, not Wrath of the Lich King. It was actually the first, because the first tier is amazing. Like, there's nothing not to like. It then tapers off, and then it picked back up in Mr. Pandaria. But there is a lot of people that are excited for it. You know, obviously, I've put quite a few Kata videos out, and there's people who even joined the stream. And obviously, I've got a very small stream in comparison to, you know, most content creators. I stream on Kick. Everyone else streams on Twitch. Like, that's fine. I stream on Kick and sit there and get shit-faced and don't care about what happens because I ain't going to get banned. So, you know, like, each to their own. But there's people who join the stream and they're like, man, like, why are you talking about Season of Discovery? It's shit. Like, we just want Kata content. Like, there is genuinely a lot of people that are actually looking forward to Kata.
I've had a lot of people write in too. Yeah, I've had a lot of people like write in. There's definitely people that are excited about Kata. Like, it surprised me, but lots of my circle isn't excited about it. You know what I mean? Lots of the people that I interact with.
It's the character investment. Like for me personally, you know, like I Season of Discovery is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it, but on the basis that once the season ends, let's say my character ended up on Classic Era, I'm never going to play it again. It's as simple as that. I'm never, ever going to log on it again. But my Paladin now, like, I will, when Mr. Pandaria comes out, I will still be healing on that Paladin. I will still be ret on it or whatever, you know. So it's the fact that like I want to carry on. I just want to keep seeing new raids, new content, even though it's not new, we know it's old. But Blizzard have a way of throwing weird shit in. You know, like paladins with their glyph and fucking, feral druids absolutely pumping. Like there's little things that actually make a big difference to the experience overall. Like Wrath Classic is nothing like a Wrath private server. And I've played on all of them for the last 8 or 9 years. And it is completely different. I could not have sat at the start of Wrath Classic and predicted how things are going to be and get it right.
Well, and you probably see a lot more. Lots of your fans that come to your kick are probably coming because you've done so many Kata stuff recently, and so you probably have a lot more Kata lovers in your chats than like the rest of us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've not done that many. I've not done anywhere near as many as that I wanted to. And as I say, that's why like when Joardee was saying about the unknown and when he was talking to Saf, like it's 100% true. My plans before BlizzCon was to be working through all of the class changes for all of the Kata classes and everything, and then it just got twisted on its head. But you just adapt. Like once Season of Discovery is getting very close, I know we're very close already, but ultimately once I've got the classes done, the class videos done, I am not talking about anything else until it launches. So then I'll do a bit of Kata. But I want to mix both in because I am very excited for Kata. But Season of Discovery, I love the unknown. Like that is what I love. I love going on a game, an MMO in particular, and having absolutely no fucking idea what's going on. And that's what it's going to be like. Every cave that you run, and I said this on the podcast last night, Bob. Like you can't run past the cave. You're going to have to go and have a little look, just in case. Like, and that's exciting, as sad as it sounds.
I'm really excited for like new quests being like, oh, what is that? Like, I'm not used to seeing that NPC there, right? Or it's like, where is this quest taking me? And Questy said that they're not adding a lot of the new stuff just so that you could go and discover it, right? I mean, like you guys were there, but we played the first 3 bosses of BFD, and like going in and not knowing what I was about to get into was such a fun feeling. I was like, oh my God, what game am I playing? This is great.
We were all there. Well, the 3 of us, me, Mel, you, were all there. I was uncomfortable. Like how you were.
Like, this isn't the warm hearth that I'm used to sitting by. This is some weird, crazy shit.
You, Crix, Ampi, Shobik, Only, like all these really good all these really good players, and I'm like, I don't want to look like a jackass. Oh my God. What do I do? Oh my God. Like I was so stressed about it.
Sorry, I spent like the majority of the time trying to figure out like where my spells were. All my raid frames looked exactly the same because I didn't know how to change their colors without my add-on that I typically use. Like I'm very dependent on add-ons, I've decided.
Yeah, I think we've all gotten really used to weak auras. I did it twice, and the first group I did it with, I'm surprised that the other people that I played with have ever touched a keyboard like that. I was like,
I thought you did it with us first.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. You weren't in that group then.
I could not believe that these people had ever played the game. And then I did it with some guildies the second time, and we just blasted the fuck. I was like, okay, this is what it feels like. But it was like, I was just like shocked.
Dude, Joardee got away from Crix and everybody
after.
I needed a mental break from the opening ceremony, and I got it.
I just remember you pulling he's between Crix is on the end. Then there's Joardee, then there's Mel, then there's me. And Joardee just keeps slinking further and further down into his chair till his head is like where the chair back is. And then Crix keeps standing up and screaming and stuff. And Jordy's like reaching up just barely with his little hand, and he's just pulling on his shirt, trying to pull him down.
He's just screaming at everything.
He's one of my best friends ever. And I just wanted to die right then, because the entire stadium was looking at us freaking out, and I just
see, I freaking loved it. I loved it. I was just like, this is so great. Shobik was cracking me up. Although there were some times when they would be talking And I was like, it's a little rude to talk during this part right here, guys. But I wasn't going to say
We don't
anything.
care about this part.
Yeah, I was like,
it
this
during
is
the retail bit?
well,
No one cared.
well, it was during all the other games that they don't care about. And I was like, come on, guys. It's like, be nice to the other people. You
We
know?
were like 20 feet from the stage.
I know.
It was like
Oh my god.
I'm the guy
depressed.
that
We
like
did it.
I'm the guy that will like yell at you in the theater to shut up if you're like too loud. Like I all I care about is other people's experience. And
Mhm. I don't even like, dude, if I'm in a movie and I'm eating nachos and all of a sudden the sound stops, I'm like a loud chewer. Like my mouth is always closed, but you could hear the chewing, like especially crunchy. Like I got like thin cheeks or something. I'll like stop chewing. And I'm like, come on. This jalapenos hot.
Oh my god.
You know, and I'll wait till the sound comes back up because I don't want to bug anybody else.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I'm glad I weren't there because, like, yeah, as soon as Overwatch or something came on, I'd have been playing music on Spotify. I'd have been like, yeah, let's go, like start dancing.
That's cool.
I've done it on stream. Like literally that Friday, the first day, like that Friday stream was so bad that I had to delete the VOD the next day. You know, and we're talking a BlizzCon stream, like that definitely should have been available. But no,
Oh my God.
I woke up in the morning and was like, that needs to go. That needs to be deleted. No one can see that.
At one point, Go looked at your stream and you were just passed out in your chair and he calls you so you can turn your stream off. Oh my gosh.
It was quite the eventful night. It was great.
Oh my god. Yeah, Joardee, the first time we did it with Ampy, and Ampy's like raid leading us. And then there's like
Shobik and
just
Crix
running in.
just kept pulling everything.
Sounds like a
Oh
blast.
my god.
It was a good time.
wonderful.
Bobby was like,
It
you
was
guys just suck. You just suck.
It sounds like him.
It's fair. We were pretty bad.
We wiped once the first time because Crix and Shobik pulled all the turtles with the boss.
Yeah,
And
that'll
so
happen.
we
You
wiped
pulled
once.
all the turtles twice.
Well, as
to
we're
be
walking
fair,
back the first time, Ampy
That boss
goes.
doesn't usually do that, right? So that's a new thing.
True.
Right. But they did it twice.
Okay, but on the way back
That's
the
what I
first
said.
time,
Second time is not.
on the way back the first time, what's impressive is Ampy's like, okay, guys, this boss does this mechanic, this mechanic, this mechanic, and this mechanic. We're like, dude, we wiped in like 30 seconds. How do you know this? It was pretty
I don't
impressive.
even know. His mind works very quickly. I didn't even know we had already pulled the boss. I thought he was like, somebody was giving him that information. He's cheating, hacking.
Oh, all right. Well,
Great.
what's everybody been up to this week, or what have you been up to? We heard Joardee got his big sword.
It's an axe,
Oh
actually.
yeah, it's an axe. Duh. I don't know. I always think of the Lich King sword.
Yeah, no, we were too weak to wield Frostmourne, so we had to wield Shadowmourne. Yeah, I needed 11 Shadowfrost shards, and I got 11 on my, and I was
Oh wow.
like shocking.
Damn.
Like
That's disgusting.
I know, so lucky. Like I gave up the first week of fragments to a friend because he couldn't make his raid, and I was like, it's an all whatever, you can have it. But then I got like really good RNG for the next like 4 or 5 weeks or whatever. And then this last week I needed 11. I was at 39. I was like, I'm not getting it. There's no way. The first 3 bosses, right? Drop it. I was like, oh my God, maybe there's a way. Because
Like, ooh.
the first 3 aren't 100%, right? So it's like
Mhm.
if you could nail those, you're close. And then you get the 4th off of Sourfang, whatever. And so then we go to Plague Wing and it drops off of Festergut. And I was like, all right, we're kind of close now. And then it dropped off Rawface. I was like, holy fuck, I only need one of the next 2 optional bosses for it to drop off of. And then it dropped off of Council, and I was like jumping out of my chair. I was freaking out.
Oh my god.
It's so cool. It's
That's
so cool.
awesome.
Congrats.
I was so lucky.
My
Yeah,
one
big
would have
rat.
ended with 10, 100%. Like I would have had 10 and I would have been like, great.
You would have been at 49 for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was. I mean, when I was I have 3 Valeniers now, but I got 30 fragments off of Yogg, and then the next week I forgot to throw it into his mouth. So I was like 2 weeks later from when I should. I was
Oh,
like, fuck
God.
this shit. So
That's the worst.
maybe some RNG payback was nice. So
Yeah,
But yeah.
that's fine.
otherwise things are good.
Good. Scotty, what have you been doing?
I don't even know. I don't feel like I've been doing a lot. I've got to be honest with you. Yeah, just more or less raid logging on Wrath. As we speak, I'm actually on Classic Era doing some practice runs on a mage. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going mage as my first
mage
class
healer.
Mage healer, yeah.
That'll be fun. Didn't they just nerf some stuff?
Yeah, it's only 40% of your damage now instead of 100% from Arcane.
And I don't know
I mean,
if
that's the main thing. But
yeah, and I mean, at BlizzCon, they were crazy healing. Like, it was nuts. But I think the biggest thing is they changed it to where you get locked out of fire and frost spells after you use a certain ability. I forget what it is, which is going to force people to actually spec Arcane rather than just... I think a lot of people were like fire or frost and then just healing with Arcane spells and then going back to pumping with fire or frost. I think that's that's my guess. I don't know if that's why they changed it. I just assume that's why they changed it.
That absolutely would have been why. But yeah, I mean, I'll be going Arcane anyway. Like, I really like the Atonement play style in, for a priest in Cata. So as soon as I saw a regen mage in Season of Discovery, it was it was difficult because obviously I was going to go rep Paladin. But
Which looks
it's definitely
strong.
mage. I'm going to go mage, then rep. Yeah, and obviously I love ret. You know, I play ret as much as I can on EU. My main on NA is a ret. So I was really, really excited by the fact that I'll be able to Divine Storm, Crusader Strike, all of that. But then I saw Mage and was like, this is not good. This is like now.
This is not good.
But like Joardee said, 2 weeks and it's over. So like, in those 2 weeks, I'll probably have 4 or 5 level 25s that I'm raiding on anyway. It's kind of irrelevant because I really want to do a tank shaman as well.
You can hit 25 in the first day, run BFD, and then just boot up another character. Like, it's just going to be so fast. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So people, like, don't worry about what you're maining, just play. Like,
Right.
We'll have plenty of time to do whatever we want. You can fuck around and then, decide.
Yeah, I'm hoping World
Absolutely.
PvP is fun. I'm hoping.
It's going to be crazy.
It's just, man, I just have to have balanced-ish servers or else it's
we'll
going to be,
They're going to have to do some type of, I think a lot of people are going to go Horde, and they need to do some type of, like, number juicing like they did with Battlegrounds and TBC, but probably to another degree. We'll see.
If we,
The PvP outside BFD is going to be fun. Like the whole of Zoram Strand, I'm hoping is just like an absolute death trap to even try and get into the raid. Because that will make it fun.
Yeah.
Where like the actual first boss of the raid is getting in the raid. And then the raid starts. Like,
I mean,
that'll be epic.
Those caves are just so tight, and like you're just there's gonna be a ton of people just like blowing shit up. It's gonna be like Blackrock Mountain back in the day, right?
Oh,
like,
lovely.
Remember running into Blackrock Mountain and just holding that tunnel and like, I mean,
I was on the other side. We didn't hold the tunnel.
Here,
We
I'm
had to-
gonna link a video of us destroying a group of people that I love so much. It's also like, I'll link it. Hold on.
I think the most annoying thing we
wanna
ever
see
did
him change.
PvP wise was TBC. The daily was the one in Tannerus, the going back in time one, the one on the far left. But if you killed anybody in the area between the big circle area where the dragons were, and on the way to the instance, their ghost went all the way back to Tannerus. So it was a cruel place to just, and we stayed there, a group of 10 of us just murdering people for like, I don't know, probably like 45 minutes. It was just rude.
It was evil.
What I want to see is Blizzard come out and really think about and be like, cool, we could make some good money here. And I want them to lift the no sort of multi account. What's the word? Multi-boxing. Get rid of that. So no hit Jerome can level like 40, 25 mages and camp BFD. That's what I want to see happen.
I remember seeing him with 40 characters multi-boxed on his stream back in the day, and he was just, it's the first time I'd seen him, he was just Jeroming it out, and it was like, this guy is a maniac. And I feel now when with him just one character, he's lost some of that oomph of him just being totally crazy.
He's much calmer now.
He's much
Yeah.
calmer.
Yeah, I want to see him allow multi-boxing so he can
Yeah.
relive that.
Totally.
It was amazing. I would literally, I'd go, oh, who's that? Like the first time I ever saw him, I was like, who's this guy? And I was probably watching for like 10 seconds. And I was like, I'm gonna get some popcorn. This is gonna be fucking insane.
Yeah.
He just res them all at once and wipe whole raids, and
He's just a
people were
walking
so
like,
mad.
nuclear bomb. Like
Oh
literally,
my God.
you put him anywhere and he just explodes the entire area.
Oh my
man.
God.
It was so good.
Mel, what you been up
Yeah.
to?
Listen, I'm a really good raider, so I had to go out of town for work. And we raid Tuesday, Thursday, which makes me going out of town and not being in a hotel on raids very difficult, right? It was a lot easier when we only raided one night a week, but with ICC, we've been raiding both nights. So I had to get up at like 3 a.m. after a raid on Tuesday to fly out to Texas on Wednesday. And then I came back Thursday to raid again on Thursday from home. So that was all I did. And then I slept any other time that I was not doing that. That's about it. Raiding from a hotel sucks though, especially during progression. Like it was fine, like other raids, but not now.
Well done. That's intense.
Oh, so yeah, so you've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate though too.
Not really, not this week.
No, true. Yeah, you haven't really got to play much. I've just been raiding, catching up, like still doing the daily every week because I'm behind from BlizzCon and the hack on some of my characters. But yeah, our guild's like up to like 8 of 12 on heroics, and today I was super nervous going to one of Pummel's GDKPs because I was nervous about council, nervous about what's it called?
Aren't you a rogue?
Yeah, my second rogue.
What is there to do?
not die on council for
If you're
one.
Mel, I get it. Mel's got jobs to
Right?
do. You're rogue.
Yeah, my rogue, I gotta not die, like and not blow up other people, you know, and like they gave us a nice little chart, and freaking I was going right to my spot every time. This freaking I don't know who it was, but this warlock was always in my spot, and I wanted to say something. But luckily, someone else in the raid called out the raid. So I was like, yeah, thank you. Like, freaking hey, that's my spot, dude. Like, what the fuck? And we had a ton of, we had like 4 raged total. Oh, but yeah, I was scared about that and putricide. And so, yeah, I watched Jordee's videos on him like 3 or 4 times, maybe even 5. And I was just freaking out, but I did it all. 11 to 12. Raid went really good. I didn't get yelled at for anything.
Which
So
one does he do? What does he do?
you haven't tried hard heroic on it, but he's the guy. Good news, everyone. You know,
Listen, all
right
those-
after Fester Gut, the 2 ugly dudes. He's right after that.
I know.
Slime
all
drops
of
on
those
the floor.
do like. Oh wait, is that the one with like the
The little
little
laboratory.
mech or something? That
Yeah. Someone gets into the big hairy
Got
scary guy.
Yeah, every
Shit,
boss in that
like-
wing.
It's the best boss in the raid. Putricide is
it's
literally
definitely up
the best fight.
It's super fun.
I like
I just run away from goo.
I like the Lich King normal. I haven't got to try heroic, but I like normal a lot. I think it's a really cool fight. So I don't know.
Rogue Lich King is my favorite fight yet. Yeah.
And Cidagrosa, I wasn't scared on at all.
On your warrior though, Jordan.
Yeah,
So I
dude,
know-
on the warrior,
I
it's
know why
amazing
your
too.
favorite
Because
fight
on the
priest.
warrior, you're cleaving your tits off. Like all the Valkyrie just get exploded. It's amazing.
It's quite mindless as a melee, isn't it? I think the majority of fights in ICC are fairly mindless as melee.
There's
I mean-
a
There's
lot
not a
less.
lot to worry about.
There's a lot less. I would say. I would agree.
Okay, so Lady Death Whisperer, you have a lot to worry about because of the ghost, but Sourfang,
I didn't
just
get hit by a
standing
ghost
there.
either.
Nice, well done. Festergut and Rawface are not doing much. Putricide, you're doing a lot. You're like soaking the green ooze and you're running away and stuff.
That's why it's my favorite fight, because actually it don't
Yeah.
matter whether you're a healer, range, tank, melee. Like everyone's got a decent amount to worry about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I fall asleep on Lich King, man. I think it's just so fucking boring as melee.
It's so fun.
I have a good time. Yeah, I have a really good time.
It's so hard to heal. It's really hard to tank. I guess the DPS don't have too bad of a job. It's just stunning those Valks as a DPS and not getting in front of the Raging Spirits.
I love
it's like the one boss
my
that
favorite.
I start to run out of mana on.
So
Yeah, sure.
my favorite thing that's happened on the Lich King, Joardee knows. Yip used to do the show with us, right? So Yip is the guild lead and like part raid leader, but he doesn't lead the raid. He's just, like a raid lead helper, But he freaked out. I was one of the first to use. We've almost got the whole guild moving over to Foji, but I was one of the first to use it, and it tells you to jump during that transition when there's no floor there. And Yip goes, oh! Like when I did it early, and he was like, "Oh, that was close. You were crazy." I was like, "Dude, Foji tells you right when to do it."
There's a clip on PTR of us getting to the transition for the first time, and Baron goes, "Jump, trust it," because he thinks that it's gonna pop up, and it didn't, and a bunch of people just jumped to their deaths, and it's just amazing.
That'd be a great clip.
I'll try to find it.
But yeah, that's all I've been doing. I need to get back and I need to get my 55 warrior to 60 on hardcore before Season of Discovery comes out, or that's gonna sit there and gather dust for even longer. So, yeah, but that's all I've been up to. All right, well, let's move into time for the news. All right. First up in the news, it's just for you guys' information. There's a ton of Blizzard games that are up to 67% off. The link will be in the description to Wowhead, and then that'll take you to the Blizzard site. But you need to go to Wowhead first. Support Rock, our man, Rock Man. But yeah, there's a bunch of them that are like super cheap. So if you've like never got around to trying Warcraft 3 Reloaded or Reforged or uninstalled, for $14.99, maybe you'll give it a shot. And Diablo 2 remastered, all of those, so check it out. It's a sale. Anybody have anything to say about that? I'm assuming no.
Some nice Warcraft Rumble sales. I don't know if you guys are playing Warcraft Rumble, but
Dude, I'm loving it, man. Yeah, I got an iPad Mini.
nice.
So
I'm addicted. It's a problem.
it's really, really fun, and I'm going to be in trouble if they start to sell those miniatures. I'm going to be in trouble.
In real life? That's genius.
Because they look so cute and cool. They look so good. I love the graphic style for a mobile game. It's super cool. All right, Scotty, you going to buy some stuff?
No.
No. Okay. Fair.
Move on.
All right. So the next one is a little bit controversial. We got word from a blue post that Icecrown Citadel raid buff is going to be going out December 5th. Now, for people that don't know what this is, back in the day, there was a buff given out, and I don't remember, it was periodically, but they started with 5% heals, damage, absorbs, 5% buff to everything, right? And then it went up by 5%, at different times, and all the way to 30%. But we're getting it starting December 5th, and then we're getting the next 5% every 2 weeks after that. So by February 13th, we will be up to 30% buff of everything. And it feels kind of too soon. And everybody makes the thing where they go, well, if you don't want to use it, just don't use it. And I always get a little annoyed by that, because it's okay, dude, well, we're probably still going to use it though. How do we talk everybody into not doing it? I don't know. But do you think this is a little too soon, guys? Or what are your thoughts if something else?
I think if you don't want to use it, just don't use it, Bob. What's your problem?
Fuck off. I mean, I don't know. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God, you can't talk to a guest like that.
Keep going, Bob.
I think Joardee should go first because mine's going to be another shit take that'll anger people. But actually, I'll go first because it's going to be very quick. I don't think it should ever be put in the game. Joardee, over to you.
I watched your video on it. It was a good video. The buff it was inevitable, I feel like, because they did it in the past, so I think it was coming. But I think that if they're gonna do a buff, whether or not they do it, I don't really want to argue because I think it was something that they were gonna do no matter what. They should have done it a lot faster than the rollout that they're planning. That's way too long of a rollout because I want to start speedrunning, and I can't start speedrunning until they get to the maximum stackage of the buff to 30%, right? So it's like there are 12 weeks now of the buff starting to roll out that is just dead weeks because the speed runs are not going to be able to officially start until it reaches its maximum effect. And so I just won't like sure you can practice, but things won't be able to be pushed to the limit that they're going to be without the maximum effect. So it feels really bad. So it pushes back speed runs way further than we thought. We were thinking early January. Now it's mid-February. So that's an extra 6 weeks of just bullshit.
I didn't even think about that.
It just feels awful. So we're really bummed about it. A lot of the wind has come out of our sails about it.
I think they could change it still, right?
I didn't think about it from a speedrunning perspective, but like my when I say like we just shouldn't get it full stop. Obviously, yes, I'm not an idiot. I know it was going to come at some point. But we've not even reached full player power yet. You know, so it's like, I don't know about you. Like, Joardee, I know you run about 7,000 splits, you know, in your guild. But for the guilds that I raid in on EU and NA, we've got one raid team. You know, so we haven't got we've got our main tank on EU because we obviously prioed our DK, get him, you know, chunky for Lich King. But we haven't got anybody else outside of our main tank with 4 pieces of 277 tier. You know, we haven't got everyone with BIS weapons. We've seen one phylactery, I think, since launch. So at least like give us a chance to get full player power from the items and then be like, all right, people still can't kill it. Let's start putting the buff in.
Well, and I mean, even my guild, it's amazing how different it is. Like even week to week, just with gear. I mean, your power level jumps so much. Like just seeing how different it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, without the buff.
In a couple of weeks, you'll have about 5% extra raid damage, you know, just from gear. So it's like, we don't need that crutch. Like, I think if we got to, you know, let's say it was February and like Lich King's still alive for the vast majority of guilds. And we're talking like guilds that take raiding pretty serious, you know, because there are going to be, there's guilds still progressing on normal. You know, I understand those people probably need the buff more than anyone. So why not put the buff on normal first? So start rolling out 5%, but it only applies to normal, and leave heroic alone. Like if you get to Cataclysm and you haven't killed Lich King heroic, there's nothing wrong with that. Like the content don't need to be so accessible that everybody can do it. You know, so there's nothing wrong with that.
Especially heroic. Like as long as if people could get the buff in normal, I like that idea because if people could get the buff in normal and experience all the content, like that's enough, right? I don't see why they need to experience it. Well,
it was their whole philosophy around Raid Finder, right? They didn't put Raid Finder in for a mandatory task that people need to do, which like how it ended up being. They put it in so no matter your skill level or time that you get to play the game, you get to see all of the raid content. So if they make normal so accessible that you will get 100% with a 30% buff, everyone can kill normal Lich King, then fucking leave heroic alone. Let it be hard.
See, and you know, I didn't think about the speedrunning stuff either. I've been waiting for that stuff to start up, and I didn't even think about that affecting it. But if they just never put it in, you guys could start doing it now. You know what I mean?
And we probably would, but we can't now. So we're gonna have to wait. I mean, speedrunning is a pretty small percentage of the community, right? It's a
big
subsect of
viewer.
a subsect, right? But
It's
yeah,
a
I
big
agree. It's a
viewer
huge
thing.
viewer
Yeah.
draw, right?
It's a
just like the
huge-
Magora stuff, just like hardcore is, right? Or it's like a lot of people are watching hardcore, and the watching brings people in. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, it's like pro sports, you know, all that shit. It's like, how do you get people to get excited? It's like to watch the pros do it. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that we're pros. Like our guild is not in the top 10 anymore, but you know, we're okay. But it's like watching Progress and Noda blast the fuck out of Old War was super fun. And now, you know, it's going to be a lot longer before we get to do that with ICC, and I'm bummed about it.
Joardee, let's
You're
get
right.
one
It's a
thing straight though
spectator
first.
sport.
Let's get one thing straight first. My guild's okay.
All right.
Your guild is fantastic, just maybe not top 10. But bro, I mean, come on. Let's call
like, yeah, we're like
grape
11
and grape
now,
and apple and
guys.
apple. Like you guys are fantastic.
Leave him alone. He's modest. I don't know what your problem is. Leave him alone. What is it with you going at the guests tonight? Jesus fucking Christ, man.
Modest
Rein it
people
in.
get other people to brag for them for good reason, because they are modest, and I have to do it.
Boot up the kick, and we'll start on your channel now.
Yeah. Let's get rid
Done
of
with
this guy.
Bob.
Yeah. No, but the thing is, like what you said is 100. Like I see speed running as a spectator sport. You know, and this is going to sound well, it might sound harsh, but that's not how it's meant to be. You know, I'll be watching you speed run, wanting you to foul. I want you to fuck up on
1,000%.
the
That's
boss.
what hardcore
You know
is
what
too.
I mean?
It's like
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like,
You're waiting for him to die.
It's why people watch Formula One racing. It's like, well, I want that guy to run into the wall. You know, it's like everybody wants blood.
I feel like Fusion might be the guild of the people, though. I feel like, I want Noda to fail. I want these like crazy. I want the guys that don't put their PTR on the on stream. Like, I want those guys to fail. Fusion, I'm always rooting for, but I do have a lot of friends in Fusion, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but you want, like, I'd be watching Joardee and want him to do well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly what Mel said. Like, I'll be watching Joardee and hope that they do amazing, and I'll be like, go on, boys. But then when they fuck up, I'll be like, oh, that's hilarious. you know, like, I can't help myself. That's what happens.
See, I would just be like, oh, man, I hope they don't take this too harshly.
I mean, and I think that literally is the core of why hardcore exploded, is because everybody was watching it, because it's like a slow motion car crash when shit goes sideways. And then, you know, and you're like, that looks fun. And then you go in and you're like, oh my God, this is actually really fun. And so I think that them not supporting speedruns has been a huge dereliction of what the community wants, and I'm bummed about it.
And they did for a short time, right?
They did. There was like an official speed run that they
Sarth was involved
with Progress and Space Force, I think, and it was awesome. It was a 10-man undying knack speed run at the beginning of Wrath, and they haven't had anything like that since.
That was super cool.
I wish that was
really cool.
There was a cash prize that was exciting. I wish that they would have added like a Mythic Plus timer at the beginning of an instance, so that the rules were set in stone and it was more supported for all of us. Because right now it's just Warcraft law. I mean, we're getting into speedrun, you know, speech that I always give, but
hey man, I love watching them, and if I was better, I'd probably be in them. But I don't want to put the work in to like doing it, because I guess it's not better. I don't want to put the work in. Is where
It's a lot of work.
Yep.
Why
And
do you
like
think
everybody
they're doing
thinks
5%
everybody
of the
is
time?
amazing, but it's work.
I know that's what they did before, but do we think it's really necessary to do 5% every 2 weeks? Like, I feel like once the buff goes out, the buff's out, right? Like,
I expected 5% a week for 6 weeks.
That's what I kind of thought, maybe.
So
too.
it was going to come out like early January, which is like, okay, the holidays are over. Now we're into like, you know, everybody can, and then whatever. The fact
do you
that it's
think
every
anybody's
other
gonna
week.
care if you're like, oh, I beat Heroic Witch King on 10% buff as opposed to 15% buff, right?
I mean,
like
somebody's going to care, but
somebody cares.
Nobody gives
Nobody
a fuck.
really cares.
Like if you, it's either you did it at 0% or you didn't.
Yeah,
that's all.
or you did it buffed, right? Like that's literally all anybody's going to care about.
Well,
I feel like,
and I feel like, I feel like if our guild were to vote, right, I would want to like and I don't know if this is possible, anytime the buff, we could get whatever buff, I'd want to turn it on for every single thing we had already dropped with no buff, but I'd like to turn it off and at least beat each thing one time without the buff. I would love that, but I don't know if I'll be able to talk my guild into it, you know?
Yeah, but I think that makes sense. Like, I'd 100% agree, because then you are doing the content. Well, I say you're doing the content as it's meant to be, and it does take me back to then talking about player power. It's like you're naturally going to get, your raid is going to get better and better every single week as you get more comfortable with, you know, like if you have to have 4 or 5 wipes before you kill Putricide, give it another 2 or 3 weeks and you'll be one-shotting it every week, because of the mix of the knowledge that the raiders now got and the gear that they're getting. So you're doing more damage. Healers are having less of an issue. You know, like we're dropping a healer on the vast majority of the bosses now compared to what we was, you know, week 1 and 2. So it's like, you know, you get stronger. So that's why I feel like by the time the first 5% buff goes out, we've not even got anywhere near that peak of raid performance if you run a single raid guild.
Yeah,
you know,
without splits.
That's my issue. I actually, what I would have rathered, which, you know, is questionable, but, you know, a month maybe before, like the Kata pre-patch, they just went full on with 30%. But just go straight to 30%.
That's what I was thinking too, right? Like,
you know,
I feel like the 5%, people aren't even going to really notice, and maybe that feels better to the player, right? Like 5% at a time, the players don't notice as much. Right. Whereas
when they did SCC and stuff, it was like, what the hell is this?
It was like, okay, this is not even the same fight.
Not even
right?
close.
Like, this is so easy, right? So I think if they went straight to 30%, it would feel like that, right? At the same time, going in 5% increments, I feel like, yes, it's optional, but let's be real. You give us an option that's going to make it faster and we get more gear, we're all going to do it. Like,
no one's gonna do
5% is huge.
The buffed, right? Yeah, 5%.
Yeah,
I feel like
30
5% is a lot.
mental.
It's 5% damage, healing, and health, which and
absorbs.
And absorb,
that's healing, yeah. But I think it's a lot. You'll see a lot of people kill Lich King at 5% pretty fast, and then at 30%, you'll have everybody killing it. Like
30% is nuts.
The difference is you're never going to need pally cooldowns for any infests. The Valks are going to get literally ripped in two. Your tanks are not going to get globaled by Soul Reaper. Like, you just won't have to use any of those cooldowns.
You'll only cleave. Yeah, for the Valks and stuff, you'll only cleave. Right? You won't even have to switch.
The difference between life and death is often like 5-10%, because all you need is a little bit of cooldown to bridge that gap between dying and not. And the buff is just going to make it so that you don't have to do anything except push your buttons. Like, you're not going to have to.
But when we're at the 30% buff, Joardee, though, you're going to have to start stacking druids for innovates, because your shields ain't going to pop.
Well, down rank. But that's the thing, is you won't even need to worry about your shields popping, because like Rapture is not going to matter. Like, it's just like everything. He's going to just get ripped in two. It's going to be like
yeah. Just imagine like,
and then it's going to feel bad. Like post nerf Vosh sucked. Everybody hated SSC after the nerf, and it was like, why did you guys do this? And you know, they have their own data, and I can't speak for the entire community, only like my experience as a gatekeeping content creator whose job is to play the game. But it's like, it just sucks. It doesn't feel fun.
No, you're right. 100%.
Yeah. Well, and that nerf was just absolutely ludicrously. I mean, it was crazy nerf.
Okay, but in SCC, you kind of understand it, right? Because they didn't at that point have normal and hard modes. They just had one mode, right? Which for that was hard, because it was harder than anything we had ever encountered before, right? Now they do have normal and hard modes. So I don't understand why we're nerfing the hard modes, because we have the norm, like the normal is the nerfed hard mode.
I think it's just because that's what they did in the past. So they're just keeping with that, you know, and it's like that's been their,
also
that's been their general guiding,
and they like, you know, really drug their feet on that one.
The problem is, and I know we're trying to focus a lot on season of discovery and stuff, but like I've got to mention Kata. You know, if you're going into Kata and you're thinking that you're going to clear all tier 11 before Firelands launches, you're in for a surprise. Like you might as well now start getting used to not actually getting to clear all the content on the hardest difficulty. So you're ready for Kata. So if you go into Kata without killing Heroic Lich King, fucking get used to it, because the chances of you killing Sinestro, or the chances of you killing Cho'Gall's easy, to be fair. But, you know, there's certain bosses that are going to be an absolute cock block for so many guilds. So unless they carry on with this trend, which I hope they don't, I hope it's like original Kata was.
Yeah.
That was why there was a drop off in Kata. People couldn't clear the raids.
Oh yeah.
What's the name? What's the server again called? Is it? It's Whitemane.
Whitemane's where I play. Yeah,
that's what the PCers.
Yeah. Whitemane.gg.
Well, and also get used to, like, it's been all about parses all through Classic, but Kata, get used to it's, you know, instead of parse first, mechanics first. I mean, you're gonna have to do that, or else you're just done. Like, you're gonna get kicked, because I've already started training my brain to do that, like trying to not worry about parse and trying to worry about doing my job specifically good and get as much damage as I can, but job first, then damage.
Yeah, and the thing is, with Kata, it's so like strangely satisfying. As in, yes, it's not all about like who can do the most damage. It's actually about who can do the job right. And I know we will get to a point in Kata Classic, like very, very shortly after release, where all we care about is passes. Well,
later's okay, I think, right?
But at the start, there's like it's so weird. Like let's think back to Alduar, you know, where XT was like so fucking ridiculous that it needed nerfing. You know, that is Kata. You know, like XT was the second boss, and it needed nerfing because it was so hard on hard mode. You know, Kata is like Cho'Gall on heroic, not actually that bad, even though it's the last boss of a tier. Technically, you got Sinestro after it, but you know, even Nefarian on heroic is not that bad. Then you got things like Omatron and even Magmor. You know, you've got certain bosses that they might be the first boss in the raid, and they're piss easy on normal. Then you switch it to heroic, and it's like, oh shit, like this fight just changed completely. You know, it's not even the same fight anymore. And that's like the big shock. So it's like you learn the normal tactics in ICC, and then when you switch it to heroic, there's not that much of a step up. You know, it's like, okay, now on Death Whisper, you're still handling ads, but you know, you're gonna get an extra one from the back. You now also need to avoid ghosts. In Kata, it's like, here's another 5 mechanics. You go and deal with that. You know, it's just a next level shit, which I love, you know, because like I've said on this podcast many a time, I just, raiding is what I enjoy doing. The rest of the stuff I don't really care about. I
mean, that's how you talked me into I was going to quit for Kata. I was going to stop the podcast. I wasn't even sure the podcast was going to go on until we found out about Season of Discovery. I see that they're really going to keep us going, right? But like, you and Willie, a year and a half ago, talked me into it when we had I don't know, maybe out of place Kata episode where we talked about Kata. And I mean, honestly, all I do is raid and Wrath right now. So, like, if there's transmog, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to PvP because it's gotten too complicated for me to really deal with. Like, I'm going to raid. And I was good at raiding back when I did it then. So, I mean, who cares? You know, that's what I'm going to do. And if I see stupid mounts everywhere, I'm just, you know, I don't live in the world. I live in raids.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you've got some good ones to look forward to. As I say,
that's what
11,
I hear.
It is. So the funny thing is, I've been saying in videos, anytime I talk, oh, hello.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's so cute. Sorry, the dog just came on, guys. For audio listeners.
Sorry.
I've completely forgot what I was going to say now.
Oh, look at that face.
Yeah, we'll just look at the dog now for a bit, I think.
Sorry, no.
Sorry, audio
Ignore
listeners.
me.
Sorry, because you can't see the cuteness that's here.
But no, in all that was what I was going to say. I've said for forever, like a year and a half ago with Willie, Bob, I would have said the same thing, that tier 11, the opening tier of Kata, is one of the best opening tiers of raids we've ever had, you know, like in any expansion. And it was just really strange that Blizzard said the same thing at BlizzCon.
Well, and you just pointed out to me.
Weird. I've never heard you say that before.
In that episode, it's funny because I've been getting new comments on that episode, and it's way old, right? But people are finding it because of the, people getting ready for Cata. But yeah, I mean, really, you basically, in my head, I had remembered hating Cata so much. But when we went through the different changes and everything, I ended up at the end of the episode going, well, there really was only a handful of things I really hated. Like, now that I think about it, I think a lot of people might be like that, because a lot of us quit in Cata. Like a lot of us classic Andys quit in Cata. So
there was also another reason for that, though, which is a reason I think a lot of people overlook. And I don't know. Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
feel like
literally the day I quit. That's literally the day I quit.
For a bit.
Yeah, that's literally the way I quit. And then I quit that and just didn't play MMOs for a long time.
Yeah, and that was, I took a break from Cata when Star Wars launched, cleared all the raids on Nightmare or whatever the difficulty was, and then I obviously went back to Cata. But I had a good couple of months of no WoW during Cata.
Yeah, that's actually literally the day I quit.
I played a Jedi Sage.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a consular, but I was Shadow. Dual-wield, double-ended lightsaber.
Hutball was cool.
Hutball was the coolest PvP thing I had ever played. Yeah, I mean, it's so good.
I brought this up. How has Blizzard never put a version of that, even if it was fucking gnomish football or gnome ball or whatever? How have they not put a version of that in WoW?
I don't know.
The best battleground ever.
It was fantastic. I was a Sith. The tank one, was it Juggernaut? I think it was a Juggernaut. Yeah.
Juggernaut.
Yeah, and like I loved playing Hutball so much. It was so fun. Yeah, I don't know why they haven't.
The Old Republic podcast, but we only talk about it for the first 6 months that it existed, because after that it went pretty downhill. But I still log on it now. I've told you before, Bob. Like I was on the Old Republic probably 2 weeks ago. I go on there.
Oh wow.
Fairly. I play it as a single player game now. I just do the story modes. But
yeah, we not recently, like last year, we just downloaded it and just played through the storyline, because we had never played Jedi side. So it's a great single player game or co-op game, like play with a friend. The only thing is, though, they suffer from the same thing retail WoW suffers from right now. Like when I played Dragonflight, it took me so out of it, because I'm sitting there waiting for Mel to do an escort quest. Dude's standing there, and I was like, "Mel, are you coming?" She's like, "I'm already on it." I was like, "Oh," and I look at her, and she's just walking, but I see nothing. So then I start it, and then like the same thing for all the questing. Like it doesn't suck us into each other's dialogue, and I feel like it takes me completely out of it, because we're really just playing a separate game side by side. And like I hated that. It's
the instant story parts of the quest line where if you're not the same class, then you basically just stand there and wait. Yeah, that does ruin the immersion a bit.
Yeah, because in Baldur's Gate,
I love it.
Like we could choose, like sometimes Mel and I will choose to watch each other's dialogue, or sometimes we'll divide and conquer. Like it's so cool as a co-op game. Like I'm like, Mel, you take the west side of Baldur's Gate, I'll take the east side, and let me know if there's anything I need to know. I'll let you know if there's anything you need to know. But it's so cool. But yeah, this was like, yeah, I don't like how it takes you. But we're not a Star Wars Galaxy or a Star Wars Old Republic podcast.
We were talking about Star Wars Galaxies last night. It doesn't matter what podcast we're on. I will find a segue into Star Wars.
One of the first Jedi, by the way. Oh, Joardee, you didn't even. Oh, I've never told you this. I was one of the first Jedi ever.
Oh my God.
Nice.
Well, my brother was the first, and I was his personal bodyguard until he filled his template out.
Dude,
I was like,
I didn't work him up. I didn't work him up for a month, because just every day I'd make new Jedis and go to a major city and just see how many people I could kill before they'd kill me. It was the most fun, because at level
I remember
nothing.
farming holocrons and being like, this system sucks, but it's cool. And then I was a doctor, or a doctor dancer, and I was just breaking in cash.
Dude, I bought a whole nother game, opened a second. It was the first time I ever had 2 accounts just to have a doctor to buff me so I didn't have to wait in the lines at the starports.
Yeah, the lines sucked.
Yep. See, you guys played, you know.
Yeah. I was exactly the same, but now picture this. I was on Bria, which obviously Bria was one of the first servers, it was one of the first servers that launched.
I'm pretty sure that's what I was on.
So I was on Bria. Well, Neo was the first Jedi on Bria, which was my brother. But I had 2 accounts from launch, and you now know that I played on day 1 because my main was called Anakin and my alt was called Padme.
Oh my god, dude! You just gave me goosebumps because that means the first Jedi that I saw before I was a Jedi was your brother. I think it might have been Neo.
It would have been,
and he was he just flashed his saber inside a cantina.
Your name weren't Diesel, was it?
My name was my name of my main guy was Corbin Dallas, and I spelled it wrong.
Okay. Okay, because Diesel was one of the very early ones to actually fill their template. As I say, obviously, if you got your lightsaber out in front of someone, you'd go on the bounty hunter terminal. So I would literally run around with my brother, knowing that he was on the terminal 24 hours a day, and I would fucking destroy everyone. Like literally, if 7 or 8 people came, I would take them down because I was a defense stack Terrakazi with Terrakazi fencer with like mind burn Gadarifi battens with unlimited uses. I literally quit my job to play Star Wars Galaxies. As in I would camp Angst for Min, on Dathomir, the Night Sister Queen. Like I would camp in the Geonosian cave to get the Acklay bones. Like I was so disgusted on that game.
I think it was Yavin that I farmed all of the holocrons in this cave, and it was like me and one other person were the only people that knew. But you could only farm if you were a beast handler. Yeah, if you were a beast handler was the only way you could farm it, because you had to have the big old hairy thing that was kind of like a Rancor. I forget what they were called.
We start talking about I'm going to be the go.
We should start. Yeah,
I will talk. I will talk about Galaxies for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Now, if you guys ever want like a one-off, like Galaxies only podcast, we could get a few people on. Like, let me know if that's something you want in the comments and write in email.
Please invite me, Daddy.
Oh, I definitely would. All right. So, okay, the next piece of news is, I just thought it was kind of funny, so I thought I would mention it, but it might affect hardcore people. There are some known issues in hardcore. I guess like getting ready for a season of Discovery, there's numerous spells that have the wrong animation because they have the Wrath animation in Classic era. So that's a little interesting. And then also your client could crash if you change your shadow quality from low to any other setting in the options menu. So if you're like hardcore, like I oftentimes in hardcore will because in vanilla just in general, I'll oftentimes drop my graphics to low to do certain gather quests because you can see everything so much easier. And then I'll pop them back up. If you do that, make sure you're in a safe place because that will change your shadow details. So that's why I wanted to bring this up, just so people are aware, because it's probably a common practice. I'm probably not the only one that's thought of that. But yeah, I think that's it. Do you guys have anything to add to that? Probably not.
Nope.
And then the new Lost and Found NPC is in Classic Era. So any quest item that you might have sold, I think it's any. Maybe it's only certain things because they're only showing me trinkets. But I feel like if you sold anything, you should be able to get it back. But I think it might just be like really important things like Skull of Impending Doom, Nifty Stopwatch, Loofah, Carrot on a Stick, Glimmering Mithril Insignia, like these types of things. If you sold it, you can buy it back. I did see a video from Quizzy.
Are you serious right now?
And if you
You're
didn't
telling
sell
me
it,
that
you can't
I could have just sold this stuff earlier and not had my bank like completely full with a bunch of random shit that I don't need?
I definitely got rid of my
maybe.
Skull of Impending Doom by accident, and then was bummed that we were like going to plan a use for it during a speed run, and was like, I don't have it, guys. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, well then what are we going to do? And then now you can get it back. So that's cool.
It is really cool.
Well, I'm gonna go sell everything.
Yeah. See, my question
I
is,
clean out my bank.
I already thought like immediately of a way to like, what if you could sell your bag of marbles at 1 use and then buy it back at 10?
Way to try to game the system there,
Listen,
Bob.
I don't think that consumables are being purchased from him, right?
Yeah, and I don't see any any weapons or anything either. I think it's just certain items that are on the list. But it says items like, so it doesn't say only these items. So I don't know. But yeah, that's in there if anybody wants to use it. All right.
Is it in there right now?
It's in Classic Era now and Hardcore. And
But
it'll
it's
be there
not-
for COD. SOD.
It's not Wrath, so
Got it. So
I
don't go
wonder-
clear out my Wrath bank.
Why wouldn't they do Wrath though? Because I would love to go buy
I don't
back
think
some
it's
of my
quite as
stuff.
relevant. I don't think it's quite as relevant, but I do think like they're putting that in for Season of Discovery. I would say, you know, that of course they've put it in Classic Era and Hardcore, but you know they're probably doing that more for Season of Discovery.
I wonder how
Mhm.
Because
popular
it's just weird. It's
Hardcore
weird.
is.
Why now? You know,
like,
why do it
still
now?
at the
All of a
moment.
sudden.
Because Hardcore was generally at like 12 to 14 layers on like every server. So I wonder how popular that is still at the moment. I'm curious. I haven't checked in a while. Anybody else checked? No.
I don't know.
I would assume it's still pumping. I mean,
I assume it's still
Yeah.
popular, but I wonder if it's still at like 12 layers and shit.
Probably not.
Interesting.
I was on fire more on Classic Era, as I say, leveling a mage, and I've never seen Elwyn Forest as busy. You know, like literally,
not even
I couldn't
hardcore, right?
believe how busy it was.
Yeah, not even hardcore, right? Just like normal
Like,
Classic Era.
Yeah.
Classic Era's been
Era, and
popping off for
everything's
months and months now.
Everything's hyper spawning. I'm like, how? Like, what is going on? But obviously, we know what's going on. Everyone's practicing their 1 to 25 run, aren't they? That's what they're doing.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Not me.
I like
I'm
how
just enjoying
Questy-
it.
I like how Joardee was like, Questy said they're not going to add in these things so that people can discover them. When in reality, Questy's like, we don't have a PTR. We're not adding in that shit. Like, we don't have time for that.
that's fair. I don't know. Maybe they're covering their bases.
Yeah. It's
We
fine.
are doing like tons of Wowhead stuff. Like they brought me on to do a lot of the guides for like dungeon guides for Wowhead for Season
Mhm.
Discovery. So the information will be out there. It just won't be in game.
Oh, yeah.
Questy.
Yeah, it'll be out there within 24 hours. I guarantee
Yeah,
it.
that first couple days where everyone's running around searching for
That'll be
runes
fun.
is going to be really fun.
Yeah, agreed. That'll be the most fun. And then
Did you
it'll just be
hear
like,
that the runes in the cave? If you do 3 back jumps and your night elf does a flip, it's like, oh
Yeah.
wow, and, the waterfall will part and there's a chest underneath it. And that'll be fun. My
Yeah,
dad
trying to
works at
parse
Blizzard.
through
He
the-
told me.
yeah, the real versus the just shit
Yeah,
comments
it's
in
gonna be
there.
cool.
Did you know
I like
that
how
the
Greg-
Night Elf flip
Greg
is
was like,
quiet side?
People be using. I like how Grid was like, people be using general chat, and I was like, nobody's gonna use general chat. Come on, nobody
They
trusts
will.
general
They
chat.
will. Well, it'll
I know they
it'll
will,
be,
but they shouldn't.
if you drown by the boat in Ashara, you get a rune.
That'd be awesome. Dude, you know,
All right, guys, we've all
that's-
got to come up with a really epic one
Yeah.
to just parse through general chat day one. All of us, let's do it.
Well,
Give me some-
we spoke about it last night.
Yeah, we
and
spoke
I
about
said,
making
like,
joke videos.
I'm gonna do a troll video. One, that's it. Like, I'm literally gonna, once I hit 25, I'm gonna look and be like, right, what rune has no one found yet? What's not been, what's not been talked about? And then I'm gonna find the most random shit, and I'm gonna go, this is exactly what you need to do. And I'm gonna stand there on stream, just watching, just to see how many people come
Go
and try
to
and do
Oh my
it.
go to
Gosh.
Stone Talon and pretend it's like the SoCal lady killer, like
Yeah.
rune.
Yeah.
Do that and be like, I found it. Like she's
I
here.
found it.
Oh wow. Yeah, you said Night Elf
Oh.
flip. It's something that a lot of people don't know, but did you know that's client side?
Did you know that Santa Claus isn't real? Like, why are you ruining my dreams
It
here?
drove me nuts. Somebody told me that,
I don't
and then I
wanna know
opened
that.
up 2 of them, and I'm like, oh crap! Sometimes I'm flipping on this monitor, but not on this monitor, and sometimes I'm flipping on this monitor, and not this monitor. I was like, that's bullshit.
Don't want to know that.
Ugh. All right.
Right?
Well, let's
I
move.
thought you were going to say, do you know what, Bob? I don't give a shit. That would have been such a better response.
Right. Pretty much.
All right. Well, let's move into.
Bobby, we need to have a talk about this World of Warcraft Classic. Do I look like I know what a WoW token is?
All right. So for this week's discussion, it's just Season of Discovery. I'm not really, we only have about a half an hour left. We have time constraints today, so it's just kind of open to what we want to talk about. But I do have 2 voicemails. Well, 3. 2 of them are one thing, but yeah, like they'll kind of start us off, sparking some conversation, and then we can just use the remainder of time to talk about whatever you guys want to. There's too much, or even chat. If chat wants to jump in and ask questions, I'll try to watch. Mel can try to watch too to see if we can pull some questions out from there, because there's just so much to talk about. There's no way to talk about it all. So let's play this first voicemail real quick.
Hey, what's up, Bob, Mel, and the Warcraft Reloaded team? This is friend of the show, Leroy here. Just wanted to talk about Season of Discovery real quick. I'm super excited as a veteran of this game to be getting, a fresh feel of the game that hasn't been fully worked out, or been made public, or theory crafted to hell and back, and we can actually go through, the growth of the game altogether and figure things out as we go. I'm also really enjoying the fact that there are some real advocates out there that are pushing to basically not data mine the whole game and work everything out before it's released. I feel that really cuts into the enjoyment and the overall, pun intended, discovery of the game mode that we're going to get. Yeah, and I really like how the level cap has been, put in place, because I feel like, it will allow the whole community to level and grow together, rather than, a bunch of people getting to 60 while everyone else is still, in the level 20s or 30s.
So that's the first part of his question, or it wasn't a question, but I'm like, some people are weird about that. I think it's the coolest thing in the world that we're going to min-max different levels of the game. I loved it in beta. I thought it was the neatest thing that popped up. I never expected Blizzard to do anything like this, and I honestly think, I told Scotty last night on his podcast, Cubicle Chat, you guys should check it out. I told him that
Not last night,
like it might push retail to do a different type of strategy, like where throughout their expansion you work up one level, you do the raids, then the next time you work up another level. Like, it's really cool, and it changes so much, like getting the different moves later and everything. I mean, we're going to be able to theory craft throughout the entirety of this thing instead of just max level, because no one would care if we didn't get stopped at some point. So I think that part's cool. Like, Joardee, what do you think about the level part? I don't think we even talked about that at BlizzCon.
It's rad. I'm excited. I think it's going to be nice not to be rushing to 60. Usually these launches, it's always like, first to get to 60 is fucking clout chasing asshole. Good job. Like, and it's like, okay, I don't have to do that now. I could just like vibe and have fun. Kind of like it was with hardcore, where it's like, just have fun, level, and so I'm looking forward to that. I'm also really looking forward to there being like a few waves of resurgence for it, right? Where it's like 25 hangout, 40 hangout, And if they do what I think they're going to do and do Scarlet Monastery or Nomer at level 40, Scarlet Monastery at 50, and then Karazhan Crypts at 60, it's gonna be fun to have a bunch of new content and get to fuck around with that as we go.
Sure.
I don't agree that they should do it for the expansions for retail, but I do think it's a really cool way to do vanilla. And that in this scenario especially, it's a really fun way because we're all gonna have to scour the earth or the Azeroth for new stuff, and to not be racing to 60 and get to stop and smell the flowers will be a cool way to do it.
Yeah, really cool because it's really honestly the worst part of every expansion so far, except for the original classic when it first released in 2019. The rest of them, like TBC launch and Wrath launch, was fucking horrible for me. Like especially TBC. We had to work up. It was just, it was.
I mean, we did that to ourselves.
We did it to ourselves, but I mean, the game kind of, you wanted, like, we were dropping down from 40 man to 25 man. We wanted a spot in our raid, and it's stress,
I mean, the community that
and I hated it. Like, I didn't have a good time, whereas this, you can have a good time. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think the reason it wouldn't work with retail already is new content, right? Like there's no reason to slow play the new content, and I think one level at a time with a new raid or a dungeon, like the gear wouldn't matter as much. I don't know, I just don't feel like
how many people play the start of an expansion in retail and never come back. If the leveling process was there between each, just saying.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the reason that they're leaving though. Like, but either way, I'm not here to talk about retail. I don't care. They can do it or not in there.
Nobody else has it. It was me and one of the devs that's working on the survival game that talked about it. And we were like, yeah, it's a model for the future.
Where was the announcement for that, by the way? I was waiting for that to be
they didn't.
He said
next thing.
They weren't ready. He said, just wait for next year.
Right.
Like he said there was plenty on the plate this year, but I was like, plenty on the plate for WoW. He was like, okay, fair.
Yeah, Overwatch was looking pretty. Sorry, we totally got sidetracked, but
yeah, everything
I
really.
Feel
everything
like,
else.
I feel like I was really excited for like a punch in the face at the end of that thing, and it didn't come. So
yeah.
I did want to hear about the survival game. I traditionally haven't been super into them, but man, I really usually like Blizzard games.
And the survival game and Season of Discovery would have been a lot for us all to take in, right, guys? We would have just been like way overloaded. I mean, I think they did that for us.
No one gives a fuck about Season Discovery in the gaming community at large. Like, it's just our tiny corner.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But like, that would have really overwhelmed us, our little group, right?
Is this us?
And is it bad that I forgot there was even a survival game coming until you just mentioned it? I'm not even joking. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I remember that now.
I met one of the devs. He was one of the coolest people I met at BlizzCon. Really awesome. I'm not gonna say his name, but yeah, he was super cool.
They said it's gonna be like Valheim mixed with WoW, I think is kind of the vibe, which sounds awesome.
Sounds right up our alley, right?
I really enjoyed Valheim, to be fair. So a WoW themed Valheim. But in terms of the, I don't want to just this podcast to turn into last night's, because I don't agree with you, Bob. Like straight off the bat, I still feel like I like that it's being slowed down, as in 25, 40, 50, 60. Like the way up is being slowed down, which is actually giving Blizzard more time to work on it. Because I truly believe if they could not turn around now and launch the level 50 bracket, because they've got nothing for it. It's literally them buying time. But I still truly believe the end game don't start till 60. We know what the level cap is.
I love that you don't agree with me. The show would be boring if I brought on everybody that's just like, yeah, Bob, you're right. Like, I love that we don't.
You already have
we don't
me,
agree.
And I usually don't agree with you. So
that's great.
Well, the thing is, I just know it's all going to be so short as well. Their 10 to 12 weeks is not going to be 10 to 12 weeks. Their 10 to 12 weeks is going to be 8 to 10, absolute maximum. So, like, we're not going to be at 25 that long. There's no point putting loads of effort into getting full BIS level 25 gear, because then you're gonna get to 40. At 40, they'll see that drop off, and people, it's all gonna slow down, and they'll be like, shit, we need to get 50 out, and then they'll get 50 out, and then really, are we gonna get 9 phases? This is something that no one's asked.
I asked it on one of our shows. I was like, what's the phasing going to be like in this?
Are there going to be new scare boards? Are there going to be like the gate?
You guys, I don't
gate
think they
opening?
know yet.
Exactly. Like, do we get to 60 and then it really starts where then there's 4 phases from 1 to 60, and then we go molten core. Yeah. Then the next phase is Blackwing Lair. Because otherwise it's all going to be over and done with at 60 really quick.
I mean, I think that they should do that. I also think like they should do raid update. Like I have a big video coming out about all this, but it's like they should do
20-man
more
raids
mechanics than they did Season of Mastery. They should do like all these new abilities we're getting. You have to have a reason to use them, and so like we need like imagine Ragnaros if the room starts filling up with lava at the end. Like they just need to really like juice up these bosses and make them like more interesting than the original vanilla stuff.
And Joardee,
100%.
like, do you really want to go back to 40-man raids? Because I know I don't.
They should have all of the raids. I think they like MC should be a 20-man raid, AQ20 should be a 10-man raid, stuff like that. I think is probably.
I'd love that. I'd love 20-man. 25-man just feels bad for certain people in the guilds and stuff. Like I hate that
part. Marry me.
Yeah.
like I'm gonna say it here. Fuck 40-man raids. Like fuck 40-man raids. Like no, it doesn't work anymore. It didn't work. It didn't work clearly any longer than vanilla, because they very quickly went away from it. And it got smaller and smaller.
Yeah, the loot was a pain in the ass, and you always had like at least 15 players that were dead weight. Oop, Joardee locked up. But he looks like he was gonna say something.
Yeah, he was about to say, Scotty, yes. That was what he was about to say.
Yes, I will.
He was say, let's set a date, baby.
Okay, so don't you think it's smart of Blizzard though to buy themselves time, because they don't know how this is going to be received or what's going to work and what's not going to work. Like, it's so new that I feel like them coming into it with like, hey, here's the first draft. Let's figure out how this works. Let's figure out what we need to do for the second draft. And then taking that with them, like, it's not a huge time commitment for us. We're basically playing the PTR of what's going to come at 40, right? And I think that's smart of them, because if they came to us and said, we've got everything already mapped out for what's going to happen, we'd be like, okay, well, we're going to crush that, because we like the community will find a way to make it so that is not how it should play out, right? Yep. So why not go in? It's like writing a plan with like 20 different steps and then getting to step 2 and realizing you don't need step 3 through 20, right? Like, and it's just a lot of effort that they don't need to put in.
I'm just excited because unlike normally when I would level up, I do dead mines 2 or 3 times. If I didn't get cruel barb, oh well, now I'm leveled past it. I'm going to be going in there trying to get cruel barb until I get it. Like that's a very big difference from how I would play normally.
And there will be probably new loot in there that's going to be exciting. And then there's a 3-day lockout on BFD. So every 3 days you have a reason to log into that character and run BFD again. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be splits, and
there's going to be parses.
There will be BFD parses. That is true. And it'll be like, link your BFD parses if you want to get into my run.
Get out of here.
And there might be speed runs. Like, I don't know, it's going to get sweaty. Who knows? Like,
I love it.
It's going to be 10 warriors in gladiator stance blasting the fuck out of BFD. I mean, it's not, but it'll be really fun.
but it would be fun. But like, that's what what we've all agreed on is going to be fun. The unknown. Like we don't know. We don't know what's going to be the fastest. The fastest comp to be able to clear. We don't know what's going to be BIS. Like that is fun. But at the same time, I still stand by my stance of like the game really is not going to start till 60, because at 60 you've got everything. That's how I see it. It's like, well, we're gonna learn stuff along the way. The discovery is going to be great. The whole journey is going to be great. I'm mega excited for it. So I'm not trying to be a downer on it. But once I've got everything, that's when the game starts. That's when it's like, right, now what can we all do?
I
You know,
think
so that's where they then need to fucking really step up and make Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, like Joardee said, add mechanics. Give us reason to use barrier. What's the fucking point of using barrier?
and
I don't think
Scotty,
you're
you
gonna
know,
use.
even
I don't
though
think you're gonna use barrier even at 60. To be fair, that's a pretty
No,
short
no,
cooldown.
no, exactly. Not how it is, but you know, not how the actual content is, and not how barrier is. Like not just barrier. That I was just saying that because obviously I know you're a big priest player.
Yeah, I was thinking
but, you
about
know,
barrier.
there's so many things that we're just not going to use because there's no need. You know, you're just going to fucking blast through it. All the bosses are going to be dead. It's like, how long we've been in here? Oh, 20 minutes. Cool.
Well,
see you next week.
And think about this, because I know every one of you get this question in your comments on YouTube, in your chat, on whatever streaming platform you're on. We're going to have a lot more people at 60 playing than we would have in this situation because of the sped up leveling every time you move to the next stage. So people coming into your chat being like, can I still join? Can I still get in? Is it worth it? You'd be like, yes, you know, like just yes. Now, you know, there's like, and you don't have to pay anything. Like you just get to level fast. So, and I believe they're going to like, when we go from 40 to 50, I believe 1 to 25 is going to be even faster. Like, and then you'll have like the, you know, 50, 100% buff from the 25 to 40 area. I mean, it's going to be cool for people catching up that weren't able to be on launch, that weren't, you know, it's going to be really cool for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me play this next one.
Following on from that point, I think Season of Discovery can be a very pivotal point in Warcraft Classic moving forward, because it can kind of change the paradigm of the meta or Optimus min-max kind of thinking that has been silently pushed out to the community and kind of enforced almost, including things like gear score and just specs and things like that. Season of Discovery, of course, is going to open up the possibility to a whole bunch of different specs and play styles that we just haven't been able to see before, as they just haven't been viable. I myself really enjoy playing the underdog kind of specs. Like right now I'm playing a blood DK DPS in Wrath just for fun, just in gammas and pug raids and all that. One thing that really irks me is when you have people that inspect others and just start publicly shitting on them for not being the quote unquote right spec, or a not optimal, and so forth. And that really just it pisses me off, because you just don't have any right to tell other people how to play, full stop.
Okay, so I would implore you to listen or to watch the little hour-long YouTube video called "It's Rude to Suck at World of Warcraft."
That was going to be my exact point. Watch that video.
And
that is the best. That is the best possible thing to do in this situation.
Oh my god!
Well, and you can play underdog specs. I played combat throughout the entirety of the start of Wrath till now, and it wasn't until now that we're actually keeping up somewhat with assassination spec. So, but I was still a viable.
So you didn't do anything wrong.
I was still a viable spec, though. That's the difference. And the biggest thing is, I think, coming with all of your enchants, gems, it was hilarious. We were in one of Pubble's GDKPs, and we were doing well, it wasn't even a GDKP. We were doing 6 groups of 10 man to do the Juraxis weekly on all of our characters. And there was this one guy that had a character, and he was like, "Can we do Juraxis on hard?" And Pubble was like, "No, because you don't have gems, you don't have enchants. I'm not doing shit for you." It's like, pull the boss. And I was just like, if you don't, you don't put in your effort, then people are going to be pissed. But if you could show that blood does, like decent enough damage for your guild's raid, like if you did it in a fusion or a, like a guild that's like on the top end, you'd be looked at like an asshole. But I mean, you can get away with a lot in other guilds that have different, it just all depends on what your guild requires of you. And you need to find a guild that you're going to be happy with, because no top end is going to take your blood DPS. But many people that are just run normals are going to be fine with it, right?
But this guy's going to have a great time. He's going to have a great time because, like, no one really knows what the overpowered spec is. We can all sit here and we can try and work it out, but he's going to actually have a great time because he can play any spec he wants and it can be classed as underdog. But then on day 4, when he's trying to get any second BFD reset, he better be the fucking meta spec or he ain't getting in my group.
And I mean, that's just the way the game is.
You can have fun for 3 days, sir.
Right.
And on that 4th day, if you have not clued into ScotteJaye's YouTube to learn the meta spec, you are irresponsible.
And I don't think anybody's.
Here's the thing: is
I don't think anybody's. Well, here, go Bell or go Joardee.
Just to be clear, I'm memeing about my reaction. You're absolutely allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I also have a right to not group with you.
Exactly.
Correct.
I want to bring the people in my groups that are going to contribute the most per player, right? In order to get through the content the cleanest, the fastest, the happiest, and the simplest. And so it's like, that vibe brings people to me, right? So it's like, if we're sitting here bashing our head against a wall for whatever reason, my groups are going to be less good. My group will be less strong moving forward. And it's like a
morale will be down too.
Yeah. It's like army tactics, right? It's like, how do you keep a platoon happy? It's just victories, right? So it's like that is how it's a shitty way to think about it, but it's the way that it's working.
So
and
Joardee,
it's perfect.
You can play blood DPS in 5 minutes.
Oh no, Joardee! Oh. No!
I mean, I can say what he was about to say. If you play blood, you're a fucking meme artist. Go and play somewhere else. I'm fairly sure that was what he was about to say.
yeah, definitely. No, I mean, here's my thing.
He should be back in here in a second.
Honestly, like, you can play whatever you want. You just have to find people that want to play with you in that same mindset, right? Don't try to group in RDF and think that people are not going to be like, what the hell are you doing, right? Because this isn't a single player game. If you're playing a single player game, you can do whatever you want and it only affects you, and that's fine. But when you're playing an MMO and you group with other people and it impacts their like quality of life and their enjoyment in the game, like, I do think that there is a problem with that. I think that I might not be the best priest ever, right? I mean, I'm very close, but I'm not quite there yet, right? But I think if I were to go in and be like, yeah, I have a shadow spec, I'm going to play shadow when I've never played shadow before, I think that's unfair to everybody else in my group, right? And shadow's a good spec. Like, people would want a shadow priest in there. Like, I just think there's certain things you do in an MMO because other people are with you. And if you have other people that are with you that are on the same page, then cool. That's how you play the game, and that's fun, and that's great.
Well, that's why I didn't want to let Pummel down today. Like, I didn't want to let him down, and I was nervous about it, right? Like, it's a multiplayer game.
But Bob, as a sub-rogue main and BM hunter, I just want to put it out there that you can play any spec you want, and you'll perform at the highest levels. Like, don't listen to Joardee. If I was to apply to his guild on my BM hunter and he saw my 4K DPS, he'd be like, "Oh shit." Well, now we're on, boys. Let's go.
Well, I was going to point out to Joardee before he locked up is that, like, I played Prot Warrior all the way through Wrath in our second raid. I was the main tank all the way through Ulduar, and then after Ulduar, I moved to the off tank for TOGEC. And then when we went into ICC, they asked me, they're like, if you want to keep pursuing this, we're okay with it as guild leadership. But I chose myself to say no. I think it's bringing down morale because we do know that warriors are not great in ICC. Like, they weren't really great throughout the expansion as Prot. They were doable, definitely, but not great. And so I was like, I'm going to choose to swap to Feral Druid, be the optional third tank and DPS. And the raid as a whole got happier, and so I think you just have to go, you have to find people that are willing to do what you want to do. And I knew my group, and I knew that some people were probably not excited about me trying this experiment with their time. And so I chose to stop, and I didn't want to stop. I wanted to play my prop warrior all the way through, but I didn't. And, that's just kind of that's just the way it is. It's a multiplayer game.
So, Joardee, tell us about how good your Holy Smite DPS spec is on a priest that you raid on and kill Lich King 25 Heroic every week.
We've been begging for a Smite spec since vanilla. Especially in vanilla, Smite spec was like a thing that people like tried and to make work. There doesn't seem to be any support for it in SoD, which is a bummer. A lot of the priest people are bitching about it lately, which I'm very for. I would love a Smite spec. They tried to make a Smite spec in TBC with the instant smites, but it turns out it's a really bad talent because you're still global locked anyways, and so it just, I don't know. It sucks.
We had Kim Jong-un, the guy that does all of our guild bank stuff. He actually did a Smite spec a few different times in 10-man Kara. It was actually amazing. We went faster than we had ever went before. He did swap specs for like 2 or 3 different bosses, but he swapped to dual spec and swapped to it wasn't dual spec. No, he just he played it the whole time. But yeah,
it's a good hybrid.
He did more damage on the trash than anybody else.
The good old hard
Holy Nova spam.
Yeah.
Holy Nova's threatless, which is nice. You can spam it as long as you want. It's
you guys,
but it was still like a meme.
Analogy I came up with while I was away. It's like, when you're driving on like a 1-lane road and the speed limit's 60 and you're most comfortable going 45.
No, I don't know that.
Anybody like that person? Like, is anybody okay being behind the person going 45?
Yeah, nobody.
No. Like, you're going to try to pass them and get them off the road, and you're going to yell at them. You're going to tell them they're stupid, and you're going to keep going, right? That's what
it makes
road
me
rage,
think Mel? Is that a common occurrence?
I just drive into the back of them and force them to do 80. I mean, what are you doing? I just push them along down the road. Yeah, that's why my insurance is really expensive, though. I'm not going to lie.
Right. So yeah, we don't do what ScotteJaye does. We don't condone that here at Warcraft Reloaded, but passing them and giving them the bird. I don't get as bad of road rage as Bob does. Bob gets really angry.
Hey, I haven't gotten really, dude. That's young Bobby. Bobby has gotten a lot more zen in his older age.
Okay, old Bobby just gets really angry and yells in the car and doesn't actually
When I was younger, though, I got in fist fights. It was bad, but now people shoot you. So, not good.
My wife gets really bad road rage, and she would flip people off. And in LA, you don't know who's gonna. It's who knows. But I was like, can you stop flipping people off? Because I feel like I worry that you're gonna get in trouble at some point. She's like, fine, I'll stop. So now she just does this. She'll glare at them, and she thumbs, and I'm like, that's worse. It's like your parents saying, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. It's worse. Everyone looks at you like,
can you stop
Mel
doing
says
anything?
that
Everyone, when you're driving, just do nothing.
That's what I was like, just stop being mad. People are dicks. That's the way the world is. And
does she do it while you're in the car?
Yeah. She's like, can you pull up to that guy so I give him a thumb down? I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Okay, Mel bullshits just a month ago, we were out to dinner and we left, and I moved over in the left lane, and this one car was coming up really fast, but I moved over in the left lane with my turn signal way before they got there. But boy, they were pissed, and they swerved to the right side and got next to me, and the girl driving is yelling, and the dude's getting out of his seat and opening the door, and I just rolled the passenger side window down. I said, I'm sorry.
Okay, no.
I'm so sorry. I didn't see you. I'm so sorry. My bad. And then they're just confused.
Yeah, it disarmed
And then
him.
he just gets
So-
back in the car, like all like confused. And I
My
was like, look at
reaction,
that,
though,
Mel.
I'm
Look at
sitting
what I
there.
did.
Bobby rolls down the window, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? I just need you to drive. Do not like. I am the one in the line of fire here. First of all, like,
I just totally
You
disarmed him
you don't
immediately.
You don't know road rage until you've been in a car with me. And there's people watching now in chat that have been in a car with me. I took this is my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter. I took her dancing. She goes and does street dance and all of she does
That's
about
cool.
4 different dances back to back. And I take her every Saturday. And like 2 Saturdays ago, I took her. And at the leisure centre that we go to where she does her dancing, there's like a one-way around the car park. And I was round the one-way, spotted this parking space and was like, boom, like we're sorted. Because I'm at the front of this one-way. So this woman, it was a woman, it wasn't a bloke, went the wrong way down the one way to get in the space before me. So I parked horizontally in front of her car. My wing mirror was touching her boot, and I got out, got Isabel out the other side, and she went, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, you clearly don't know what the rules are around here, so nor do I." I went in. They put a tannoy out asking me to move my car because someone was trying to get out. I ignored it. She sat there for 2 hours. I was like, I'm not moving the car.
That's
you're gonna have to get it You're gonna have to get it towed. You'll have to get my car towed because I ain't moving it.
Don't fuck with Scotty. Holy
That is
shit.
right?
That is so
There's rules,
good.
man. When it comes
I
to
agree.
driving, there's
I
rules.
agree.
Yep. Yeah, Jordy's a big
Also
rule
rules that you
follower.
can't
He
park
let us know
horizontally
that
in-
many times during
That's
BlizzCon.
funny.
He
I'm
said
a
we have
rule
rules
follower.
for a reason, guys. Well, Jordy, I know
Crix does not like the
he
rules.
doesn't.
No.
And he just jumps fences and
Yes.
and so I was
Yes.
always very like uncomfortable. But
I mean, he got us
I-
in without
Wait.
waiting in line immediately
That's
to
true.
play
Yeah.
the
Listen, you
demo,
just have to be
which was
far
great.
enough behind Crix that you could like
just coast behind
act
him.
like you're not
Yeah.
with him
Yeah.
if you needed to, right? Like you're like, well, I'm here if this works out. If not,
Yeah.
you're on your own, dude. Like
The pattern on this wall is really lovely. Oh yeah, no.
Oh man. Well, Jordy, I know you don't. You had a 2-hour
I
block.
do have to go. I'm going to dinner with my little sister. She's 4, and so I got to rush to that.
Well, we
oh,
got
that's nice,
one
yeah.
more voicemail. Scott, are you down to stay after I sign Jordy off here for this last voicemail, and then we'll end out the show?
I'm staying till you kick me off. So
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry to leave.
Hey, no.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming.
you told us that plenty of time. Yeah, I have no problem. So Jordy, tell everybody where we could find you.
I'm on Twitch at JoArdee. I spelled it weird. And YouTube and Patreon and all the things.
All right, and
Mhm.
let Mel take a screenshot with you and your doggy up there if your dog's still in your lap. So for the YouTube thumbnail.
I want to take a screenshot as well, actually, because I'm going to put him on a thumbnail.
You gonna put it on a thumbnail.
I've got it.
Okay.
I've got it. Yeah. I don't know what it will be yet.
Hold on. Ready? Oh wait. Hold on.
The classic,
you ready?
the classic
got
YouTuber
it.
mouth open thumbnail. Oh my god, it's a dog.
Beautiful, guys. Beautiful.
Perfect. Thank you for
All right,
coming,
thank you, guys.
Jordy, and have
see
a
you
good
later.
time. Enjoy your dinner and movie.
Thank you. Scotty, good seeing you, man.
Take care, Geordie. Yeah, amazing
Bye,
to
guys.
talk to you again, man.
Later.
Have
See you.
fun.
Bye.
All right, we are almost over, but I thought like it'd be nice to get through this last
I'm
last
listening to it.
voicemail
I'm
real
just
quick.
gonna grab a beer.
Yep.
So I'm listening though.
All right. Here we go.
Hey, Bob and Mel. This is Gypso. I've called in a couple times and just wanted to give my thoughts on something else. I know that in Season of Discovery recently that the Horde has been getting a lot of the Alliance things, and Alliance is beginning a lot of the Horde abilities, and it seems like what they're trying to do is make sure that there is no issue when you choose whichever race you want. Now, one other thing that I think that they might or maybe should address down the road is that Ren buff is Horde only, and really the only way that Alliance can get it is through the MC cap, which in Classic, I'm cool with. I like that. It's kind of fun and interesting. But
bless you.
I don't think that that's going to be exactly the route that Blizzard wants to take when they're thinking of interesting. I think we should maybe expect an Alliance world buff at 60. It might just be exactly the same as Ren, but for another level 60 dungeon or another 10-man raid. I wonder what raid it would be. And maybe I wonder what buff it would be. And would it maybe be at Ironforge? Maybe it would be the Emperor after the BRD raid. I don't know. What do you guys think? That sounds pretty cool to me. Thanks, guys. Bye.
So world buffs. I'm a little nervous about, just off the top of that topic, I'm a little nervous about too many world buffs. He was talking about like how Alliance doesn't have Rend and stuff like that. Maybe Alliance get an Alliance only one. But I'm a little worried about too many world buffs if the BFD world buff like persists on. You know, you're going to be going back clearing that raid to get the buff. It'd be interesting, or somebody will be clearing it and then holding it. I don't know how the buff will work or whatever.
Yeah, do we want to get back into that meta?
I mean, there'd be a lot of buffs if they just keep adding a new world buff every, phase there. Be interesting.
The whole thing around it, which again, like, we've not got to worry about preserving the state of vanilla because it's not vanilla anymore. I think we can all agree on that. Like, just give Alliance Dwarf Shamans, give Horde Tauren Paladins, and have done with it, and stop fucking about trying to introduce buffs and debuffs across factions unnecessarily. Just let both be both. I don't understand the logic behind it. I do. I understand the logic, because what Blizzard have done is they've looked at it and been like, well, we can't put Draenei's and Blood Elves in. They've not actually looked any further than their fucking nose and thought, well, wait, actually, there is other things we can do. Like,
I'd actually prefer...
I think it's pointless.
Dude, if they were going to put new stuff in, I'd prefer they skip right over Draenei and Blood Elf and just put in Goblin and Worgen. Like,
they fit.
I don't like Draenei at all. Nobody that plays a Draenei likes that they're a Draenei. That's why they eat the fish. Like, nobody wants to do that. So,
but I just don't think they need to introduce new races. Like, there's no need.
Yeah.
Like Dwarf Shamans are fucking cool, man. Like, I'd play a Dwarf Shaman. Like, that's cool. And Paladin, I mean, Tauren is the in my opinion, the one that fits. And we know we get Tauren Paladins further down the line anyway. So, rather than like trying to complicate things by adding runes so both sides get the same buffs, it's like, just fucking give both sides. It would make my life so much easier because I want a Paladin and a Shaman.
I think he was asking for a different Alliance only buff, but then you'd have to make it so that Horde was able to, steal it just like Alliance are able to.
Yeah, but that was where it stemmed from, wasn't it? Like he was initially talking about like Horde and Alliance having the runes and getting Wind Fury and all that on both sides and Kings on both sides. But in terms of that world buff, like, I mean, I don't really care. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's Rens. It's Rens, so it's from UBRS. Like, yeah, just add an NPC in Stormwind where you can add it in as well.
Yeah.
Job done.
I mean, I never went and got Rend. What does Rend do?
It's like attack power and haste, is it? I don't know. I'm not the biggest vanilla player. Like, I wouldn't even pretend to be.
Listen, I didn't get a lot of world buffs until Nax because it was so easy.
Yeah,
and I didn't care about Parseed. I was a healer, so it was like, okay, whatever.
I didn't have a lot of money until late vanilla, and like I just barely most of the time kept up with my actual consumes. So I never had enough money to buy the rend buff. So yeah, I never got to experience the rend buff at all, like not once. So and every other buff, but
300 stam apparently. See, I'm looking at it now to see exactly.
As somebody said 15% attack speed and 30 MP5.
I thought it was attack speed. Haste. I said
I think
haste,
he said 15% attack speed, 30 MP5, and 300 stam.
Yeah, it's before they had the word haste.
Or 30 stam.
Yeah. So according to Wowhead now, it's 15% haste to melee attacks, 10 mana regen, 300 hit points. But I mean, it is part of the Elixir attunement for Horde. So for the Horde, where Thrall sends players to kill Warchoke. Yeah. So it is in UBRS. So all they need to do is just, I don't know, once you've completed that equivalent step for Alliance, there's just one extra quest giver. Do you know what I mean? So you get up to that exact same point as Alliance, but now they add one extra step where you then hand in someone in Stormwind, and it gives the buff.
Or even Ironforge, yeah.
Yeah, or Ironforge, like wherever. But like that would be the easiest way, rather than being like, oh, let's add a whole quest chain or a whole new boss encounter or whatever where you get the buff from. Just add one step to the Alliance quest chain, which is exactly the same as the Horde, but it's in that capital city. But at the same point, on the same point, it's kind of neither here nor there, is it really? Like,
right.
Is anyone who's playing Alliance really that bothered?
Not really normally, but I definitely was bothered for parse reasons that, I just couldn't afford to buy it, Well,
then just remove it. Remove it from passes. Like that. That's it. Warchief's blessing is removed from passes.
It'd be hard to do because of haste. Like they could remove, tricks and hysteria because it's a % of damage, and they could just subtract that percentage off, right? But haste is a hard one.
If you've got Warchief's blessing, you don't pass. It's as simple as that. It's like your pass is void. So you either remove the buff or you can pump on details, but that's it.
People would riot. Horde would riot.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it only evens the playing field, don't it? It's like, what are they rioting about? But now you've actually got the option to play Alliance and be able to pass equally well. So it's actually better for even faction balance. If people were literally looking at Warchief's blessing, being like, the only way I can pass 100 is by having that. Well, remove it then. You can't get it, or both can get it, one or the other.
Yeah, I loved when Warcraft Logs implemented the thing where you had non-world buff parses, but we could never talk anybody into turning off all their like we would wipe, 3 people would live, and they're like, no, I'm not removing my buffs. And we're like, well, okay, I guess we won't get to see what parsing without buffs would have been like. Thanks, dude.
Well, that's the thing that I hate about 40-man raiding and vanilla raiding in general, is like, the tanks are shit, I'll over aggro and die, and then, well, I've died on the first boss, that's it, I don't give a shit about the rest of the raid. I'm there, but like,
so many people are like that, yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yep. Well, anything else you want to hit on? I mean, I'm
only you.
Pretty good. Stop.
Can we talk about Nick flicking? No, we'll move on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like, yeah. I don't know. Any concerns about Season of Discovery? Like, I have a little bit of concern that, it's going to be batshit crazy. Like, it's going to be so unbalanced, and everybody's making their charts and their tier lists now, but it's all bullshit, guys. Like, nobody's done the math of all of this stuff. Like, there's, there will be before it comes out. The math will be there, but nobody's done it all yet.
I feel like my concerns are that, so the concerns are the unknown, right? You're always going to have concerns about what you don't know, if it's going to be good, if it's going to be bad, if it's going to be fun, if it's going to be too long, too much, right? I think my biggest concern, and not really concern, but I feel like if they don't immerse themselves into, which I have faith that they will, but if they don't immerse themselves into the game as people are leveling up and as people are doing the 25 content and make adjustments to what the 40 content will look like, I feel like that's where it will really fail, right? I think they've got a very unique opportunity to make something based off of the community and kind of cancel out some of that noise that's like the top like world speedrunners like Joardee, right? Like, yes, your opinion matters, but also what is everybody else over here doing as well? And how do we make something that everybody's going to enjoy? And I think they've got an opportunity here that they could really hit on, or they could really fuck up.
Yeah. See, I just think they need to be clear on what the end goal is, and that's it.
Really,
Like,
though?
if their end, well, yeah, no, I do. Like, I truly do. Like, if their end goal is actually to have balance at each bracket, so like at 25 they want, and they will fine tune classes, and they want everyone to be competitive at 25. And then at 40, they do the same, and they want everyone to be equally competitive at 40, and then 50. So actually each phase of content where we're at the max level, where they're trying to do the best to make
think that's
every
their
class
goal, though.
competitive.
Oh yeah, I think I agree with Scotty though. Like focus
No, I don't
on
think that's the goal,
60.
though.
Like let
Well,
people
is
be
the goal at 60?
overpowered at different stages. I'm okay with that. 60 is where I'm worried about too. Like I think that's where I'm at.
And that's my worry.
Yeah.
So it's like if their goal is actually by the time we're 60, you're all going to be competitive. You're all going to be. It's not going to be perfectly balanced. Nothing ever is. But 60 is what we're worried about. When you reach that point and you start raiding, like that's what we care about. Or do they care about actually everything in between? And 60 kind of is, that's like the end of the road. You get to 60 and then go smash Molten Core, Blackwing Lair. We don't really care who's doing what damage, what healing. Just go and enjoy it. It'd be a bit of clarification on what is important to them. Is it the 1 to 60, or is it the 60 end game?
I mean, they've already talked about adding in new raids that are like in zones that are, weren't currently finished, or that were, potential raids and things like that. And who knows where that goes, right? Like if that's a level 40 thing or if that's a level 60 thing. And I agree that they do need to put some work into level 60. I think that's a little far off from where we're at right now. And I think there's no reason for them to plan for what's at level 60 if this dies off at level 40, right? Like,
no, that's a good point as well.
If experiment fails at 40, then there's no reason for them to be like, well, we've got all these great plans for 60, but nobody's here anymore, right? And so I think
people are going to be there.
Learn. Yeah, but they just need to learn from each phase. And they've already said that this phase will be chaotic, right? Like this phase, they've put so much in that's crazy. And they're like, I don't know. We don't know. This is what we should do or what we shouldn't do, right? And I love that. I love that it's like an experiment. It's like, here you go. Here's a bunch of crazy ass things to choose from. Let's see what the community does with it. And then let's build from there, right? And I like that personally. I think we as a community can help them develop a better game than they could do in their own little echo chamber, right?
No, I agree. The only thing, like from a business perspective and from a Blizzard perspective, like having the carrot dangling, where they're like, when you get to 60, it's going to be fucking crazy. When you get to 60, we're going to do good things to the raids. Everyone's there, don't worry about how overpowered your class is at 25, 40, 50. When it gets to 60, it's going to be a different ball game. You're going to be doing 25-man raids, 40-man raids, whatever you're going to do. I actually think they can use the level 60 content as a big selling point for sticking around until that happens, rather than it being like, who knows what's going to happen at 40? Who knows what's going to happen at 50?
Right.
And that's more my, last night
fair.
when we were talking, that's my general consensus on it is everybody knows when you've reached max level, that's normally when the game starts. This is slightly different, but I think they could still, they could do a lot for the game by just dangling that carrot. I'd be hooked. I'd be like, shit, you're telling me I'm excited about getting to 25, but when I get to 60, it's going to be, everything's going to be different. We are going to get, new encounters. We are going to get tuned bosses, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's enough to keep me playing all the way through.
Do you
But
think that,
when we don't even know the raid size at the moment, I'm like,
right.
60. I don't really
timing
care.
wise though, right? Like right now there's hype about Season of Discovery, right? Like timing wise, you'd think like once people get into level 25, start raiding for like a week, 2 weeks or something, then they put this out that's like from a marketing perspective, right? It's like, okay, people are starting to get like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of crazy, this is weird, what's this going to be like going forward? And that's the point where you say like, hey, here's what we've got planned for level 60. Not everything's like laid out, but classes, are going to continue to grow and balance and all of this stuff. And I think that that's almost a better time to tell people that because people are going to try it.
I feel like they're going to build
that's a fair point.
each one. I feel like they're going to build each one up differently because each tier they're going to be able to be like, all right, well, now we have belt runes. Now we have shoulder runes. Now we have all these different runes. I think they're going to build each time rather than, and then 60 will be like the stuff they talk about at the very end when we're at level 50 cap. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, but I think Scotty's right that like everybody knows the 60 content, right? Like everybody is going to be looking forward to not just the new stuff that's going to come, but like, is it going to be worth it to stick it out? Maybe if you're not super enjoying the level 40 cap raid, right? Like, is it beneficial to come back to get to 50 and to get to 60 if really you just want to see what they're going to do with Molten Core, right? And I don't think they need to have like everything mapped out 100%, but I think dangling a little bit of that in that, like, this is what we're thinking, this is where we're at right now. We do have a plan to add a new raid at level 60 and make them 25 mans and see how that goes or something.
What if we even did Molten Core at level 50?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they could do stuff like that. But like, if this was World of Discovery, then, I would be more on board with the sort of vagueness of what's coming, in the future. But it's not. It's Season of Discovery. It's a seasonal server. We know it's, it has an end. It is a finite amount of time. And any private server I've ever played on, they put a roadmap out. And they're like, Q1 will be this, Q3 will be this, the server ends here, and on the basis as a seasonal server, I think there should be a little bit more clarity around what the plans are long term because we know it's going to end.
They probably should have that map come out. Yeah, they probably should have that come out.
Here's the thing is that I think this is their test server. I think they're saying, here's a season, let's experiment with the craziest shit that we can think of and see how people react to different things, see how things go over. And then maybe we do make a Classic Plus because you announce Classic Plus at BlizzCon, people are hype. But then the ridicule will start like, oh my gosh, they did this or this is ridiculous, right? The season allows them time to change it. And the season allows them their, grace period of this isn't working. Yeah, well, it's just a season. And people will try it. And people won't be as angry about it if it's not working, right? And then they get all this data and all this information and people like things and don't like things. And then they can develop this wonderful Classic Plus that everybody really wants.
Are you ready to both hate me and never want me here again?
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever get Classic Plus. Full stop.
Thank
never.
You.
We might get another season. We might get another seasonal server where they take the learnings from this season and then make a better future season. I don't think we'll ever get Classic Plus because Classic Plus.
What do you define Classic Plus? Yeah, I was about to say, what does Classic Plus mean to you? Because that's what you're saying. It's not going to happen. So is that them getting done with all of the stuff that they never got done with in?
Classic Plus to me would be all of the classes being tuned, possibly new abilities in some places, not like what they've done now, where they've took future abilities. I'm talking something that's worthy of a box cost, not something that's worthy of being thrown in with your subscription. I mean, something where you look at it and you're like, fucking hell, yeah, maybe it's been developed on a new engine. Maybe it's, you've still got the core game. It's still Eastern Kingdoms, Kalimdor. Every class is it feels new, feels fresh, looks fresh, but not like, oh, we've
But-
took this ability from Kata, we've took this ability from Dragonflight, Molten Core, all of that, all of the contents.
But the graphics are more like those fan different things. Like, and I'm not talking about retail because I think retail looks very like it looks more cartoony than vanilla does. Like it looks super cartoony. Dragons, look like they're out of Disney. Like that's how it looks like. But have you seen the concept art for different things done in Unreal Engine or whatever? Where like Orgrimmar looks like a freaking, I mean, it looks amazing and visceral and like scary. Like that, I could definitely be on board with a Classic Plus like that. And I hope to God they are in development of it. But even if they made a single player game, like co-op, like I would love that, like a Skyrim type of game, but set in Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. That would be fucking brilliant. Like I would die for that.
I've not even thought about that, but yeah, that would be pretty sick. But you know what I mean? It's like if you're going to release Classic Plus, it needs to. That's what needs to be at the forefront of your mind. Is it needs to be worthy of a buck's cost, because they're not going to release Classic Plus and go, here you go, guys, here's Classic Plus, have it for free.
I agree.
It's you're gonna have to pay for it. So if you're gonna have to pay for it, it's gonna require a lot of development, and there's not a lot of development in Seas of Discovery. They're literally adding. I don't want to take it away from them. They're doing a great job, and like what they've done, I'm sure a lot of work has gone into it. But I'll say that. But ultimately, we're getting abilities that we're raiding every week in Wrath, and we're using the majority of the abilities that we're now going to use in vanilla. It's not new. It's not plus. It's like, I don't know, a fucking Retail and Wrath of the Lich King had a baby and they've born Season of Discovery. I don't, again, I'm mega excited for it. I don't want you to think that I'm being negative about it, but ultimately it's not Classic Plus. And if they are going to do Classic Plus, it cannot be this. So no matter what sticks from this, if they're like, oh, people really like these runes, this is what we'll do in Classic Plus. That will not be Classic Plus, and that will not warrant a box cost. That will not it
won't be enough.
No, it won't be enough. It won't be enough, and that's why I don't think we'll ever get Classic Plus, because no matter what they do, will never be enough. They might as well just keep putting out new retail expansions, and then hook us with nostalgia and just throw little bits in along the way over the years, because that's what's going to make them money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think this has been a great show. I think we should start closing it out, though. If I can find my stuff here. Yeah. All right. I would don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WC Reloaded. You follow the Mash Those Buttons Network at the Mash Network. If you want to send us an email, it's wcrpodcast@gmail.com. Guys, new Discord is out. Please come back. Come one, come all. Come back. Let's get some conversations started. Ask questions for the podcast. Please. It's warcraftreloaded.com/Discord. And we'd love to see you there. How can you guys help the podcast? Well, I mean, you guys are still killing it. We're still, I'm pretty sure, I don't know, Countdown to Classic beats us here and there, but I'm weird and I check it often. But we're still, for the majority of the time, the number one podcast in Classic on both Spotify and iTunes. Thank you, Josh, for not releasing more episodes. And for, although he's starting to do it, so he might be way ahead of us soon. But help us out. Leave stars on Spotify. Leave stars on iTunes, reviews. We haven't had an iTunes review in forever. Also, listen to Countdown to Classic. It's a good podcast. So I mean, I listen to it every single time. So, but we'd like to beat them, though. We'd still like to beat them. But yeah, and then the YouTube is way more than any podcast YouTube I've ever had, but we can grow it more. Give us comments, give us likes. Even if you want to say a bad comment, it still helps us. And if it's, if it's constructive feedback, maybe we'll actually get better because you helped us out. So, do that. And then if you want to do our Patreon, it's warcraftreloaded.com/Patreon. You can find pretty much everything you need anywhere to find us at warcraftreloaded.com. And Scotty, where can we find you?
ScotteJaye, pretty much everywhere. Yeah. That's it. I don't really care about YouTube. I stream other places. Kick, ScotteJaye, Twitch. I might start streaming a little on Twitch soon. The season of Discovery, we'll see.
Well, because now we can stream on everything. Like I keep trying to set it up, but I'm going to stream on everything before Season of Discovery's out. Do you recommend the Streamlabs thing? Because it seems like they have a pretty good way.
I've been paying for Streamlabs Ultra for years. And it's great. It is great if you're going to stream on all of them. My problem is I don't like talking to people, so stream is not really my thing. I stream on Kick because I've got 30, 40 people most of the time where they're people I enjoy talking to. We have a laugh, we have a drink, and you expand out. If I stream on Twitch, there'll be a lot more. Stream on YouTube, there'll be a lot more. A lot of the same questions. It fucking bores me. Like I don't enjoy the game. So, but on Streamlabs Ultra works really, really well. And I'm going to do this as you. Having said that, for Season of Discovery launch, I'll be streaming on all three for at least the first few days, and then it'll all be on Kick. So that's where they'll have to find me after that.
Okay, cool. And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me in game. You can find me on the podcast. You can find me in the Discord.
The new Discord, yeah.
Kind of find me on Twitter.
On Twitter? Oh, you started to Twitter more? Yeah.
No.
You didn't see it.
Complain on Twitter about Bob not tagging me. That's all.
Yep. Yeah.
You started using Twitter more? No.
Chat asked if I tagged you this time. I was like, shit, shh.
No, I had already noticed. I already went and I retweeted it. Really cute. Yeah.
Hold on. We're breaking up here. Let me see if I can change this. Is that better?
Oh, yeah, no. I wasn't up before.
Oh, weird. Yeah. Must be me. I'm having all kinds of problems here. Okay. Well, you can find me on Twitter at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. You can find me streaming on twitch.tv/blazingbob or kick.com/blazingbob. And I believe I'm going to stream on the Warcraft Reloaded Clips channel. It's not where you normally get the podcast, but if you do go to that channel, you can see the playlist right there of all of the stuff. We'd love to move the episodes over to that, but we need 1,000 subs before we can do that. So help us out with a sub there. It's Warcraft Reloaded Clips. And the link will be in the description. And let's get out of here, guys. This was as Scotty would say, a banger of an episode.
Thank you for having me on such a banger of an episode.
Of course.
All right. Goodbye, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you very much for checking out Warcraft Reloaded Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss any future content.